All right, welcome to the Platinum Prad and the Arun Show. We are here obviously to cover the market for you on a Thursday, February 3rd. So any questions, any stocks moving, make sure to put them in. What's up, Arun? How's your day so far?
Hey man, markets are down, so you got to look at some shorts. We talked about this off the top there. There was some stocks that were moving hard. Facebook, obviously, in the news, everybody was looking at it. So we'll go through some of my trades later. But what do you have? You just came in not too long ago. So what did you pick up?
Yeah, I came in, obviously with the snow over here and everything, I had to shovel my backyard and my front yard for my dad for the backyard. Anyways, moving on past that, I came in looking for opportunities. It felt like I don't know what to trade. I was so lost. It felt like it was my first day back. I was like, okay, let's look for some opportunities. I saw Apple at the high of day when the market was kind of coming down. So I got in, obviously broke rule number one. I scalped out most of my exits near 1750s being my best out. Sorry, 175.50s being my best out, and my entry was pretty much near 176. I think 175.98 was my entry. So having that pretty good of an entry over there, scalped it out on the uptick of the market. But what I could have done is gotten back in, maybe given it a little bit more risk, because it looks like we did go past 176 all the way up to 176.91 and then came back in. I'm not sure if that was a dark pull wick or not. Let me just go verify that real quick. AMD on the 1 minute. So that was a dark pull wick all the way up to 177. So it only went up to 176.24, and the previous high when I was shorting it was 176.07 was the previous high. So if I would have gotten back in, given a little bit more wiggle room, I would have been able to got another short on Apple. So far, this is my only trade of the day. As you guys can see, only 9 trades on me, and this other stock is getting bought out. That's why it's at a 300% premium. I think it's getting bought out for around $3 or so. So we're just trying to figure out what we can do with this. And that's pretty much my trading so far. Looking for more opportunities.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? By the time we get to this show, the majority of the opportunities, they've already set, they've already moved, and we just got to figure out what else you can potentially take. So that's why this, when we get to the show, it tends to be slower. So whatever we've already positioned into, that's what we're riding. And now we can go to my screen here, and I'll show you guys what I'm carrying right now. This is what I've still got. I've made some other trades that I'll go over as well. So I've still got a Facebook short at just in front of 246. So that's $1.20 in the money. Pins out of the money, 26 cents on a short as well. And Qualcomm up $5 in the money. That one I've had since morning, and I haven't even touched it. No management, nothing. Before I continue on, Nick putting in some work here. He said, I bought Facebook on the dip at 254, a small stake. Can you help me understand if I am stupid or not? On the dip today, it's just one of those things where when you try to trade Facebook today, it's going to be a momentum play, right? The way it's moving, it's a momentum play. So you do have to be aware that if you're buying, you're in and out quick. Whether you're buying or you're shorting, you are in and out quick. Now, the problem with Facebook, though, is the way it's been moving. Let's just take a quick look at the daily, because that is what I like to do. This is what Facebook did, right? So the fact that we're down this much, and we're all the way down here at 240 and change. Let's just scroll back. Is there some support for 240? So it seems like you've got some support. So if you've committed to a long and this is an investment and not a trade, then you should be okay until 230. If 230 goes, you're probably in trouble. But at the same time, a move like this is one of those snapback moves. So temper your expectations on what you could potentially make of it. So there is a reason to be long on Facebook. But it goes all the way back to, 2020. It goes back to about July 2020, where there's some volume. So I can argue there's a reason to buy Facebook, especially with this type of drop. And on that note, though, I do want to show you a trade that I made on Facebook. Yes, I am short now, but I also had a similar idea, Nick, on going long Facebook not right off the open, but heavy into the initial sell point there. So what I did there, let me pull up the 1 minute. So when it fell off of 250 and it was sitting at like 247 or something, and I think it opened at like 245. I sent an order at 242 and a half right here. So if you look at the timing of that right here, this is my long right at the bottom. I caught it 15 cents from that initial bottom. But at the same time, this is not my strength. This type of trading is not my strength, but I felt that there was too much selling, so I was looking for a rebound buy. So I get the fill from the low. It shoots up like $4 in the money instantly. You see it within a minute. It just shoots right back. I'm like, sweet. I'm trading this against 240. I've got a good price. If we're going to get that momentum flashback or just like that snapback rally, I can take this into like 248, 249, and then I can worry about figuring it out. Well, it turns out Facebook had a different idea and decided to go right through 240. So that initial snap long got destroyed or wrecked, if you say, if you want to call it that. And I got out here at 239, and then it went all the way to 237 and decided to kind of rally back a little bit. So that initial snap play that I lost on made me think, okay, what levels can I potentially work with if I really wanted to trade it now? Like the way I like to trade it, not just like on a snap oversold condition type of play, but how do I like to trade it? Well, let's just set that up now. I like to see this type of movement, right? We were hesitating around, this is a 15-minute chart. We were hesitating around 246. So I try to go against it one time, lost, and then I'm like, okay, let's see what it does when it gets back to this area, that 246, 247. It decides to go up there and starts to find some selling. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So as I wait on this and see how much more selling it's got, we know it's been trying this level to, it's been trying to hold this level yesterday. And now when we get back up to it, I'm like, we're really stalling out. There's some volume here. I can work with this. Let's go for the short. I went for the short, and that's the short. That's $2.50 in the money now. So what am I looking for in terms of targets? I want to see what would happen if we get back to 240. I think 240 will be really telling. If we start to find some buyers around 241, 240, then I'm going to take some profit, walk away. If we start to lose this level, meaning if we get back above 250, I'll walk away. It's just one of those things where this is how I like to trade and this is what I want to see. And now that I've positioned myself well at the right location, I want to see this thing start to move where I want to, where I can make my next decision. And Facebook's one of the few trades, and I'll go over some other ones after as well. Prad, is there anything you're looking at right now?
I'm just going through the chat. So someone's asking, will DWAC short squeeze because of the, let me just quickly make sure what the DWAC short squeeze numbers or the short interest numbers are. I don't see, there is none? Oh, right, that's true. So, I mean, there could be, but we don't know. Yeah, so it's a low flow, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure if you want to be thinking of DWAC as a short squeeze play. You want to be thinking of as a Trump pump play more, and I'm not calling it a Trump pump and dump play because obviously there's an actual company coming out of this. There's an actual application. Now the value of that application and how much money that media side of that application is going to bring in, all of that depends on the way they manage it. So obviously, I don't want to be thinking of DWAC as a short squeeze play. You want to be following the news, following if the application is actually going to come out on February 21st. Yesterday, if you guys were here on the closing show, Brandon clarified it a little bit more, which was basically Apple developers gave out the release date, which was still February 21st, but the company said, we're still going to see if it's going to be around that date or a little bit further, but not too much further away from February 21st, which is a great thing for DWAC. So DWAC once again back on its ascent, back to $100, and we were just talking in the group trading floor chat that we have on Google Hangouts, and it was basically one of them said, DWAC, I'm not going to touch the stock until it goes above 100 and when we're closer to February 21st. That's basically the same mind state that I am being a day trader. Yeah, this 4 million volume is great. Everything's fun. But what's not fun is how the spread opens up on the stock every single time that I'm watching it. We go from sometimes 50 cents, sometimes 60 cents to maybe 10 cents at times. So I don't want to be, trading an $80 stock with 4 million shares that randomly opens up spreads at different times of the day. And if breakouts are not the cleanest setups for me, then I'll just wait for the spread to tighten up when we get closer to the hyped up day of February 21st. Or whenever the application drops. And obviously, if DWAC is moving around that time, when the application or when the media starts moving it, you're gonna see something similar in Fun. So Fun today moving 14% to the upside, having just a rocket ship trajectory north right now. Let me just quickly go back to DWAC, see what DWAC's looking like. Yeah, okay, so there we go. DWAC 5%. and fun over here 14% with a lot more volume. I mean, $2 stock. If this one doesn't have a lot more volume than DWAC, then that's a big question right there. But yeah, 8 million shares, 2 million at 250 right now, and the high a day at 260. Let's see if we can take out that high a day, and let me see if I can find some levels on the dailies over here. I have a lot of lines over there. So what's the closest line we are at? Looks like 297. This volume point of control over here at 297 for the past month or so. So since November till now, the volume point of control is at $3. So if we do get to $3 today or sometime soon, I'm expecting a rejection of that or at 320 for funware. Prad, we all know DWAC is your best stock ever. I wouldn't ever trade it either. Yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm not trading DWAC because it's my best stock and I don't want to ruin that. It's like taking away the Grammy off the shelf and drinking shots out of it every day. Maybe once and twice is good. Nah, it's not that type of mentality. I just don't see a setup in it to trade for me that I would like it, especially because of the spread opening up so widely. I would love to smash it once again on February 21st.
All right. Somebody was asking, did I not take Snap? I tried. At the same time I had orders out on pins, I also tried to get Snap shorts as well, just underneath 27. I was sitting 10 cents away from the market. So it was like I was sitting just at like 93, 26.93 or something like that, and it wouldn't go above high enough to get me filled. So yeah, I missed out on Snap. One trade I did not. I am reviewing my trades because the only ones that you guys see are the current ones, right? You see Qualcomm, you see Facebook pins, but I've got some ones that I've cashed out on. And I want to show you guys the reason being. Maybe this, seeing the chart on them and my decision making for it will help you guys out. Spotify, I was on that. That was a nice little. That's actually my biggest winner on the day, and it's a fairly large one too. Let me get Spot running. Here we go, Spot. So if we get the 5-minute chart on Spot, you'll see that I was short right here, 168. So 168 against, I forgot where the stop was, but it was a 168 short, and it was nice. And we went into the open, it was about $4 in the money, and then it spiked. I was like, okay, we're still okay because the stop was, I think, north of 180. So it was an expensive trade in itself, and spiked all the way up to 175. But if you look at the way I trade anyways, if you look at the daily, we were in a good location. A decent night, a nice little move up wasn't going to be a problem because we would have, oh, this doesn't help the situation. Okay, let me get a 60-minute in there because that's a little confusing. A decent move to the upside isn't going to be a problem because we still have volume from the 28th, right at the end of January. There's some volume around that 172 area, so that's the reason I went for the 168, stopped north of 180, and you saw what happened once it got into the 170s, right? It kind of fell off, tapered. My first exit was 158, so $10 almost on Spot on the initial or in the first half of the portion, and then I got the rest of it managed out around 164.5. So we averaged out $3.50 on the second half and about $10 on the first half. You can do the math there. It's about $6.50, $7 or so on Spotify. That is the biggest winner I've got on the day. So hopefully that kind of clarifies what I like to look for. I like to look for that, previous areas where we spent a decent amount of time, which also means volume, where I can play with or against. In this case, I played right up with it, where actually I played up against it because I was trying to use that as level to kind of go for the short. So that's my play on Spotify. Facebook, going sideways. Qualcomm going sideways. I'll get to Qualcomm as well. Is there anything else?
Market's ripping right now, though.
I mean, if you call that rip, I mean,
no?
Yeah, sure. It's going up. It's going up.
Fair. Yeah, I'm just going through the chat one more time. Obviously, someone's mentioning XLF. Let's take a look at what the financial sector is doing. On the way to work, I was obviously going through articles, and in there I saw the Bank of England. Is it Bank of England? That raised it by 0.5 points, the interest rate.
Was it today? I have
Yeah.
no clue. I haven't looked at it yet.
So
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think it was Bank of England that raised their interest rate points by 0.5 today. Obviously I was talking to my dad yesterday too. My dad's like, "What happened? What happened to Facebook? What the heck is going on?" And I was like, "Oh, look, man, things are getting bad. Sometimes things are getting good, and it is what it is." But in that conversation, he's like, "Well, if we're getting into a high interest rate time, shouldn't banks be a great buy? Shouldn't we start looking to start buying banks?" And he's not wrong by saying that. So XLF, obviously, if we're starting to raise interest rates, that means more money to the banks. Obviously, we haven't done that on the American side yet. So whenever that happens, watch for XLF to maybe get a nice little bump up to the top side. We can quickly take a look at your banks because we're looking at the ETF that covers all the banks. And here we go. JPM 1% north today. Currently at the high of day right now as we talk about it. Still a lot of time left for European close, so we'll see how the European close comes out for the market over here. Some of my orders are just getting canceled because I'm being careless. All right, so JPM obviously going up 1%. We'll talk about Wells Fargo, WFC. Where's Wells Fargo work today at? Also on the, well, kind of flat on the day, not really doing what JP Morgan is doing over there. So I would love to see what it is that's causing JP Morgan to have an absolute rip on that side. And we can look at Goldman Sachs, GS. Goldman Sachs also flat, but on an upward trajectory. I mean, it is up 0.5% with 600,000 shares traded so far, and trying to get back to those $400 levels. We'll see if the interest rate changes that should be coming up sometime next month or so is going to allow it to get back into those territories. Going over to real quick for the low floats that we're moving today. Well, maybe I'll talk about the guild stock instead that we were talking about, because I did have some points about that. It's not on NASDAQ, it's on OTC, so PK. Maybe I'll pull it up over here. But yeah, Guild, obviously esports. I'm big into esports. Arun was asking me how easy it is to win esports trophies. Obviously, it's not the easiest thing to win an esports trophy. It's one of the harder things to do because there's so many teams out there. There's so many players out there. Everyone's just signing up to play these games all the time. But after doing a little Google study to see what kind of cups that these guys win, it's like Fortnite and stuff like that. So not bad, decent cups. But this is not the one I want either. Guild on LSC, Guild Esports. Here we go. The problem though with these are most of these esports companies are running red. They're not making profit. They're all running red and they're selling at crazy high valuations. Like 100 Thieves selling at crazy high valuations was insane. And FaZe also has some crazy high valuations from the who was the rapper who invested in FaZe? Offset. Offset's invested in FaZe, Drake's invested in 100 Thieves. So it's a good thing what's happening to esports, but it's not like every single one of them is going to be a winner out there. Some of them are going to be big time losers and in a horrible way. So obviously I'm not wishing bad for a David Beckham backed company over here, but obviously I've not heard about Guild until today, and I actually had to do research about them after seeing them show up.
They had a FIFA trophy, right? You said
they had a FIFA team. Yeah, they had a FIFA, not a trophy.
Oh,
they had a FIFA team.
Okay. I won't make that team. There's
You
no way.
won't make that team?
No way.
I mean, you got to be a kid with just like insane reaction time to be on any of these.
Yeah, no, that's not me.
Not me.
I'll stick to trading.
Hey, man, you got to stick to what you know, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
All right. People were talking about Tesla. I see the chat talking about Tesla a lot. I'm looking at the chart. The very first thing I want to look at when a stock is moving is not the intraday movement, but the daily movement. Where is it moving within the range that it's been trading in? And Tesla is still trading within the bounds that it's been in, right? It seems like, I think we had this conversation yesterday. 1,000 seems to be the top end level. We seem to get resistance every time we get into that 940, 950 area. So we're kind of boxed in here waiting for Tesla to make a move. If it can get above this 1,000, I think this opens the door a little bit. But it's going to be, it's figuring itself out. Give it some time. It will become intraday tradable. It depends on how you're trading it too. Tesla moving up $50 or $30 $50 from the bottom is why did I just type in 50? It's going to be what, 880 up to 935. Yeah, it was like 880. So intraday wise, great momentum run if you can trade it intraday. Seems like 885 would have been a great trade, but it also depends. Like this reason why we don't talk about these names all the time, even if they're running hard, is because it depends on how you trade, right? I don't trade Tesla because of the price point and the fact that it's not set up. I don't know about you. Do you trade Tesla? You do, right? I know Valeriia does.
I tried to because, obviously it's very active. You feel like you can make a lot of money on it, but I don't think I'm profitable on it last month. But for sure, overall in my 2 years of trading, I'm for sure not profitable on that stock. It just can't be.
It just provides a nice excitement.
It just provides excitement and excites emotions. That's it.
Yeah, it's tough to catch these runners because a lot of times you'll see the intraday. Let's just say you get caught up on the intraday, like, oh yeah, yesterday I took a bunch of breakouts, it worked great. But if you don't frame it the right way, it may get you destroyed another day because you're going long. I think we had this conversation about a different stock where it looks great on the intraday, but if you pull it out and you look at the daily, you're going right into a major level. So it doesn't have space to move. And for me, I think even if Tesla were cheaper, I'd definitely pay more attention to it. But I think for me, because of the price point, I have a cutoff. It's about like $600 or so, where if it's more than that, I have a hard time reading it because the flow is just way too fast. And the level 2 and the volume I have an issue with it. So for me, I just like to kind of get a better handle on things, especially with level 2 and volume that I look at apart from just charts. So for me, Tesla is kind of ruled out. But the other EVs, though, I didn't look at NIO. Somebody was asking about NIO and XPAV, was it?
Yeah.
XPAV, they are moving up now. If I were to look at the NIO chart, yeah, NIO's got some space to move to the upside. We just need to clear the zone, though. It seems like right here, what is this, 25? And then the gap into 27, that can become a problem, too. So for me, if I were to look at NIO, I just mark it off. Like, where's the trade for me? Right there against that. So if we get above 26, fade it against 28 on a setup, that's what I would do. Until that happens, I just don't even look at it, right? Put an alert out, don't even look at it. Same thing I've done with futures, I think. I think this morning someone was like, why? I keep saying the same thing on the futures. I haven't made a trade on the futures in 4 days, or since Monday.
Yeah.
I also don't need to.
Yeah.
Right? The way I trade, I don't need to trade every day. So for me, if the futures are doing this, wide ranges too. That means I can either try to trade it intraday, or I can try to catch the moves that I want at the prices that I want. And as you can see with these yellow lines here, the prices that I want to trade at are in 45.80 or going up, or 44.40-ish going down. Everything in the middle, I'm not even going to bother looking at because I don't need to. The risk is way too high trying to trade inside the range here versus the edges. I like to trade the edges, and for me, I'm just waiting for the setup. Am I okay? It's been 4 days since it's down day number 4 since I've made that trade, and I'm just waiting. I'm still waiting. I'm perfectly okay waiting. At some point, we're going to make a move into the ranges, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do then. But until that happens, I can just keep trading. Like Qualcomm is up $5. I can take pins out 40 cents. We'll just ride this one, find other things to do until the setup is there, and then we'll just go ahead and take our shot whenever it does happen.
All right, yeah. So quickly looking at Facebook. Facebook now coming under VWAP a little bit. Obviously, I said market was ripping. Arun was like, I mean, if you want to call it, and he was 100% right because it just went and tapped that same barrier that it was tapping before. Immediately back down to go probably test the downside barrier at this point. And for ES, we're back to VWAP once again. So looks like another day, another sideways action off the open. So not much. Trading to be done because we're kind of stuck in a range, and AMD also coming off over here right now, breaking that 124 to the downside. So Facebook, while we're talking about Facebook, obviously everyone knows what happened. Bad earnings report. I've been saying this for how long now, that social media is not the best way to make money, and they obviously knew that. They started selling data, and now selling data is obviously going to be banned for them. So the only way for them to even bring in money is gotta be through what, Oculus and the metaverse. So if they don't go first to market and really capture the market over here for Facebook, I fear there could be more downside for these guys. Obviously Roblox getting beat up through Facebook from I think a short seller report over there. That's also not looking good for the tech stocks in general. But metaverse, we're talking about the future. We're talking about the potential over there. So if you believe in the metaverse, I know there's a lot of metaverse haters, and I know there's a lot of metaverse lovers too. I'm kind of on the fence in the middle because I love the whole virtual aspect, and I also love hanging out with friends in real life and actually being with people in person. So I'm kind of on the fence on that, but I still believe that there is a bright future for Facebook if they are able to capture the biggest the population, most of the population, because there's going to be a Google land, there's going to be an Amazon land, there's going to be a Microsoft land, and it all comes back down to what land is more popular at what time. So maybe there's going to be a Steam land also, and if you're a gamer, you know what I'm talking about. Steam is a gaming platform where you can buy games from. It's a how do you call it, a retailer for online gaming. So you can just download games and pay them, and they make billions of dollars every year. So if Steam has a Steam land over there, and Epic has an Epic land, and Facebook has a Facebook land, then it all comes down to popularity where most of the people are, and that's why I still think Facebook could have a little bit more darkness left inside of it. I do want to buy Facebook at these levels. It's a no-brainer. Like, it's down 24% today. It was down up to 26% at one point. When I came in, I saw 26. Obviously, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be a little patient to see what happens if they start acquiring more companies based on metaverse. Also, they can't solely depend on metaverse, because social media making money is not working. Obviously, Google is tapping into their revenue over there for advertisements. Their streaming platform for gaming is not working out, and they're gonna try and get into metaverse, which is kind of gaming too. So there's a lot of questions here in my mind for Facebook. Overall, Zuckerberg, we need you to start working 10 times harder now, because these guys are coming for your money, my friend. They're coming for your pockets. They're gonna fish from it.
Yeah. I looked at the chat and they're like 1,500 on Tesla. I'm like, did I say 1,500? I meant 1,000, but my bad if I said 1,500. Or maybe someone else said 1,500, but I hope it wasn't me. Anyways, going back to Tesla, like I mentioned, the range that I'm worried about is that 950 going into. It probably was me. I was probably saying 915 to 1,500. 915 to 1,000. 1,000 is a round number. Everybody sees it. It's pretty obvious on the chart. 1,000 is the marker to cross. And as you were talking about Facebook, I quickly looked over at the price, and I was like, oh no, Facebook at 242.50. I actually dumped my Facebook short. I wasn't a fan of the way it was trading. I was like, we need to back off, and you're going to give me this kind of buy-side action. So I kind of backed off. You see the rally that we had, right? So I'm like, I'm going to walk away. Went all the way to 247 and spun right back around. So my thing with Facebook is that it really isn't set up the way that I would prefer. It's set up on the overnight, but it's not really set up on the multi-day for me, because of the way it moved overnight. So I'm much quicker to manage those type of positions versus something like Qualcomm. I'm just sitting and just waiting for something to happen, because I have a multi-day support or multi-day resistance level that I'm working with. So I have no issues kind of just sitting in it. But Facebook, I'm more active in managing, because it's just an overnight move, right? It's a slower version of a scalp, essentially what it is. And then my position trading is what you're seeing on the screen. So I'm just waiting on those. And so people were asking me about my futures levels, and I did this morning. For anyone who missed it, let me grab the let me grab the NASDAQ chart here. You guys can translate this into the Qs however you guys do it, but I'm looking at 15,300 going into 15,500 as the resistance level that I want to play with. And then 14,500 going into 14,300 as the support level that I want to play with. Reason being, you see it, right? Going back towards mid-January, we're stalling out around this 15.3, decent volume, a bunch of tops. There's probably a lot of action. You go back a little bit more. There's some support buying as well from mid-January. So for me, that level makes sense. And then here, that 14.5 being the beginning of a support level makes sense as well, because that was kind of the area where we put in a bunch of highs before we kind of broke out a little bit. So for me, there should be some buying here. So longs in that zone, shorts in the top end zone, and it's pretty much the exact same chart as the S&P. They are linked At this point, the way the levels are setting up on both the S&P and the ES are very similar, right? We're in the middle of a wide range, and we just got to wait for a range to happen. And the advantages and disadvantages of being in the middle of the range, it could be a great intraday style of trade, meaning if you catch the right momentum names, they can move, they have space to move around. The issue for me, though, the disadvantage is that if I'm in the middle of a range, I got to wait for a trade, and I don't step in, and I don't play that type of style. So for me, I got to just wait it out as I see that Facebook is looking like it wants to go towards 242. Damn it. Okay, while I've got you guys here, let me just quickly go over to Qualcomm, just show you guys what I was looking on Qualcomm. And this was quite the roller coaster. Exciting to say the least. 187 is where I got short. We went all the way down to 181, $6 in the money. I'm like, sweet. But at the same time, I was looking for a move towards 180 and that actually would stay. Yeah, just keep me off the screen. 180 that would actually stay. And then it snapped all the way to 191. My stop is north of 194. And then it came all the way back down. And here we are sitting at 182. So we're still like absolutely nothing with this. And the reason I went for this short was if you look at the daily on Qualcomm, it is sitting right at the bottom end, or top end of a range here. We really are struggling to get through 190. And this morning when we stalled out around that 190, I'm like, you know what, it's go time. So let's just go ahead and take some shorts into the move to the upside in the pre-market too. So went for the short. And then, you know, it looked good, and then the open happened. It took off to the upside. I'm like, that's fine. If we break, I can flip the trade. I talked about this yesterday. One trade, there's two trades against one level, right? You can trade it in front, and then if it breaks, you go against it as well, or you take the opposite position. I was prepared to do that, but the level held, the area held, and here we are back down. And for me, I want to see what's below 180 before I start making decisions on how I want to cash this out. For now, it's about $5.23 in the money. But hey, we've got a lot of time left. We're only at almost a half day or halfway through the day, and this thing can accelerate. We've seen that happen in past days where we're quiet, and then the final hour and a half, we just go absolutely nuts. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. And yeah, what am I looking at?
It looks like that was a good all-time high short. Kind of the same setup that Google had off the earnings report.
Yeah, but you got to be careful, though. The issue is that because it's so obvious,
yeah,
it's easy to trap positions that way, right?
Push it a little bit further.
Yeah, because you essentially, if you have the juice, you can guess where stops are, and it's easy to squeeze the stops out of the way and then bring it right back down. Right. So if you're trying to play, I always hesitate to take these shorts when the levels are so obvious. Because you have to think about the psychological
Everybody's
factor.
watching it.
Yeah, you have to. It's like it's an easy trade, right? When it's an easy trade, you can mess with people. You can psychologically mess with people that way, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you kind of gotta counter. You gotta play against the initial move. Sometimes you're like, okay, well, is running up. And I say this often too, is it running up on stops, or is it actually running up because people want to buy it?
How do you see that it's running up on stops? Like, are you...
It's very thin and it's very aggressive.
Okay.
Because a lot of stops that people send are market orders. So you'll start noticing when market orders go off. Remember, market orders are priced with infinite prices, right?
Yeah.
So if to the buy side anyway. So people are they're just going off. So everything on the offer is just getting smoked, but the pace that it's getting smoked at is going to be unsustainable. So what I want to see what happens is when that pace slows down, what happens to the stock? Does it just come drifting down? Does it just fall off? Does it come? If it drifts down and then finds more buyers for a little bit there, then you're like, you know what? There's some decent buying happening behind the scenes as well. But if it's just drifting down and there's no one willing to pick up afterwards, yeah, it's probably just a stop run. At which point you can just counter, go right up against it.
Right.
And trading like that is kind of delicate too, because you have to know how one, the stock works, and two, you have to be pretty good at estimating where the stops could potentially be. Right. So once it gets to that point, then you can take your shot. Futures, what are you doing? Oh, back down we go on the futures. And what is Facebook doing? Don't show me. No, it's still at 242.50. So Facebook still around 242.50. Futures coming back towards their 15s. We're about 10 points from the low on the futures. I can just pull this chart up here. I mean, is it surprising that this bounce went nowhere? No, because 2430 has been a problem all night and into the morning. So the fact that we got up there and faded off again, no issue. Could you potentially argue a trade against the 2045.50? Yeah, you could. But for me, it's again within the range, right? I try to kind of restrict myself and within the bands that I trade in. So for me, I'm just going to wait for this market to see how we put in some lows, and maybe we can find some other names to work with. I am looking at the chat to see some other things that you guys are trading.
Yeah, for sure. So people are obviously talking about Snapchat, Facebook. Those social media stocks are all going to be moving along with Facebook a little bit today. Snap getting destroyed, 20% down move. We've talked about this for quite a bit today. I'm going to move to other stocks. So let's go look at my portfolio. What is my portfolio doing? Obviously, we know what it's doing. But what it's doing on the intraday. It's down currently 3% for SoFi with 22 million shares. Back under $12. Remember the last time we were back under $12 on a down day? SoFi did make a move to $11.50 and bounce off of $11.50 all the way back to $12 and so on. And currently SoFi is still finding support near $11.80. Pre-market low is pretty much $11.65, but the opening low is $11.80, giving you a nice range to scalp it. Obviously, I don't want to be range trading the stock. I'm just going to leave it alone. Let it see if it wants to come back a little bit lower later on. Give me an opportunity to go long. And it is on SSR day 2, apparently. So anytime you see SSRC, that means it's on day 2 SSR. And SSR means short sale restriction. You cannot short the stock by taking off the shares or the orders from the bids, which is on the left side over here. It's basically called taking out liquidity off the bids. You have to sit on the offers, which is the right side. You have to sit on the offer with your order, wait for the stock to make an uptick for you to get filled on the short. So you can't be aggressive on trying to go short on stocks that are on SSR. And this rule applies for stocks 2 days, 2 business days, 2 trading days, not business days, sorry, 2 trading days, because that could be different too. A business day could be different compared to a trading day, right? Like you could have a business day where the world's still open, but the stock markets are still closed. So it's not a trading day, but it's still a world.
But you do realize that when the markets are closed, it's usually because there's a holiday. And if it's a holiday,
but there's been a time where there's been a couple.
Can you name one?
Well, for example, Martin Luther Day King, where the Canadian stock exchange are open.
But that's a completely different market. You're comparing Canadian markets with U.S. markets with a U.S. holiday.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'm just trying to make him a point here. I know it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But yeah, exactly. Over there. So a trading day, business day, whatever you want to go with. So far it lasts for 2 business days, 2 trading days, and it goes off of that after that. Unless even today it drops another 10%, then it goes on SSR day 1 and then SSR day 2 the day after. So obviously keep an eye on for stocks that are below 10%. One of them would be Facebook. The other one would be Snapchat. Let's go look at something that was moving yesterday. I believe it was T-Mobile. What stocks was AMD? AMD still in the green. Let's go. AMD today 0.5% up to the north side and actually coming down right now. Obviously 124 breaking. We were kind of holding up 124 for support, giving us a $1 range to keep on scalping it. But now here comes the move to VWAP.
Brad, the chat's not liking you messing up Martin Luther King Day.
What did I do?
You said Martin Luther Day King. You gotta fix
Did
that,
I?
bro. Yeah, you gotta fix
my
that.
bad. I thought I said Martin Luther King Day. I thought I said it. I thought I said it. My. No, I thought I said it right. My bad though. Hey, English is a second language. Okay,
there you go. That's the excuse we're gonna go with.
It is a second language. Sometimes I get.
Hey, listen. I said 1,500 on Tesla when I went 1,000. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah, it is Black History Month too. So anyone who's celebrating Black History Month, let's go. We are always in in celebration with all festivals over here at TraderTV.Live, even the Indian ones. I don't know if Arun is gonna do Diwali or any of the Indian ones this year.
You're talking to the wrong person.
You never do them?
I don't know any of them. You're definitely talking to the wrong person if you're gonna bring that stuff up.
Fair.
No, I'm not that guy.
Fair. Ganguly goes, blame English for sure. Hey man, allow me, okay? I'm not picking excuses. I made a mistake. It is what it is. Rumor is Apple will start their own search engine and social media model. This is bad for Google, Facebook, etc., but good for consumers. Prad, we all know DWAC. We already looked at that. So Ganguly coming in with the fat super chats one more time.
You know, I want. Do you remember an article about a while back about how maybe it was a lawsuit or something, or there's something about it where Google was paying Apple to make sure that Google was the default search browser in Safari.
I could see it.
Or something like that.
I could see that.
Maybe because of that. I mean, there's rumors out there until I see it. Whatever.
I could see that happening.
Right?
I mean,
it makes sense.
You pay Google to have your name at the first, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
search
They have their
engine
own browser
optimization.
already. They just Google wanted to be the default load.
Yeah.
On their engine. Now, if they're going to go with their own search engine, it could easily be done. They already have the platform. They just got to build it, and then they got to stop paying Google to.
I don't know. It's going to be that easy to make.
It's not going to be. I'm sure there's an agreement there somewhere that. Oh, what you mean? Actual building the search engine? Oh yeah.
Like
it's gonna
the
be
amount of work Google went through to be a search engine, the amount of data
but
they're sitting on.
But Apple will do it though. They've got the infrastructure.
They can, but Google has years of data. Like how many companies have come out?
Apple,
Bing,
yeah,
Bing, blah blah blah.
But here's the thing:
Microsoft
Microsoft had its own phones and failed. Apple has its own with success. All they have to do, everyone who uses Safari, if they get redirected to using their own
Safari engine,
Safari engine.
Fair.
I mean, that's not that hard. Everyone's just going to pop in Safari, and all Apple has to do is remove Google Chrome from their App Store, and done. What are you going to do then?
Add it back.
How are you going to add it back? If they took it off the App Store.
Chrome browser, you can install a Chrome browser. You can install third-party app. Listen, I'll give you the point that your point is 100% valid, which is the Apple fangirls, or sorry for using the fangirl term, the Apple lovers will for sure be the first ones to adopt that into the ecosystem and say forget Google. But I don't know. It's going to be another Google Android, Apple Android war. So there's no point in having this. There's no point in having this. Let's just go back to BlackBerry. Whoever BlackBerry sold their software to, let's just go to those guys.
Oh, BlackBerry.
Oh, BlackBerry.
BlackBerry. Oh, for anyone who's watching last year, I had my Passport, unfortunately, had to be retired. So I got a Google Pixel 6. But on Passport, what I was using as the browser was the BlackBerry browser. BlackBerry also had their own app, the Maps as well. So I was using that. It's fine. It's nothing crazy, but it works. It's doable. And now BlackBerry's, obviously fully out of their handset business and into software, and they're doing pretty good with, I think, not just enterprise software security, but also car. I think they got a decent car software as well.
Do you know what happened with the patents over there? I'm still confused. So did they make a new company to sell their patents to themselves, or did they sell their patents to somebody else? I'm not sure.
Wait, why would they sell it to themselves? What?
So I think they created a new off branch, which is a patent holder, and then they offloaded their own patents to themselves.
Okay.
And then they're gonna try and sell that company that holds the patents, maybe, or they're gonna sell the patents through that company instead of BlackBerry. I'm not sure what's going on.
They don't want to individually sell the patents? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense if you want to group a bunch of patents together that you want to just offload. If you don't want to go through the process of individually selling them. But I mean, whatever. They're going to do it.
Yeah.
I looked at the chat.
I still want BlackBerry to get bought out by like a phone company for their security. I still want that.
I mean, they are secure. Their whole thing is about enterprise security now, right? I was looking at the chat. Someone's like, I only celebrate, because we were talking about holidays, I only celebrate deadlifts and bench presses. I mean, you're almost there. You missed one. You missed a squat, man. Squats, bench press, and deadlifts. You can't forget those core exercises, those core lifts. And how do you feel about deadlifts?
Deadlifts are the most overrated exercise.
Yeah, they're. Neil hates deadlifts right now because he said if you're elite, you don't need them. Obviously, clearly, I'm not elite enough, so I still need them for now. Maybe I'll get there one day and I won't need the deadlift, but for now, I am going to go with deadlifts. Power cleans are pretty good too. Neil, you agree with power cleans though? What? Power cleans. Oh, yeah. There you go, power cleans. Replace deadlift with power cleans. There you guys go. For anyone who wants a quick workout lesson from Neil and I, there you go.
All right, diving back into the market. Let's see what the stocks are doing. I'm going to quickly go look at Rivian. We're going to go quickly through a bunch of these growth stocks. Rivian back at 10.7 million shares, traded down 6% today. Obviously, a lot of sideways action. You're going to see this in the market. Since the open, we just went up and down and up and down. Rivian doing something similar. I'm going to expect Affirm doing something similar. One more stock that we can go. Oh, Affirm actually made a nice pop off the bottoms over here, but still down on the day, down 2.5% at the moment, trying to hold up at the 100 period EMA. Looks like we're seeing a rejection, however, of $61 and $61.50. So if we do pop from here, I would love to see if we break out of 61.50 and then go make a new high day past 61, 60.99 actually being the high day. Affirm. And we can also go look at, we already looked at Roblox. I want to go look at PayPal, because PayPal obviously getting smacked from the earnings report over there. I did say that we're gonna probably go play around in the 100 to 200 range on PayPal for a little bit. So still on the down move. The gap has been filled, but now we're like I said, we're on the down move to go test if there's any buyers at 120. 120.73. Let's quickly go on the 1 minute here to see if I can find where the buyers are today. We'll turn that off. Well, there's no buying absolutely all the way up to 128. There's only like 40,000 shares, like low amount of shares over here. And this is where people are really looking to buy up some positions. So 126, 125.50 and above. Is where buyers are loading up. Even now for the volume point of control, which is where most of the volume is transacted, at 126.86. So you could use that as a pivot point for your entry or your short, for a long entry or a short entry, up to you. And then you have your stop on the upside, stop on the downside.
Yeah, I'm just going through the chat. A lot of people talking about deadlifts being easy to injure. Yeah, it is. It's way too easy because a lot of people just don't do it right. Right? They just step in and they just lift, and then, oh, there goes my back, and you're out for like 3 weeks. So
you got to do it from your hips, right?
Well, you got to engage everything before you even lift. A lot of people just lift.
I was doing that while I was thinking, because when I had a trainer for like powerlifting, yeah. And I was like, okay, this is way too much work. I'm just gonna sit at home and play video games instead.
That's a good way to go.
But he was, explaining how to like, focus on what parts you want to tighten and do all that.
That's what I mean. You got to engage before you lift.
So like when I was shoveling the snow today, I was like, my first few shovels were like, okay, I'm gonna break my back if I continue doing this. Let's focus. You've learned how to do this before. I was like, okay, engage, squat,
there you
crunch, pick it up, throw it, and I was like, putting in work.
Muscle memory after all those years playing video games.
Exactly.
Back to Qualcomm, because it is starting to finally move now. So we'll quickly take a look at this one here. Qualcomm, this is a 15-minute chart. Remember, I'm short at 87, just in front of 87. We're short just around here. And I want to see what happens below 180. That's the critical thing here. So for now, as long as it stays within this band here of 180 and I guess the high of 190, whatever, we're not going to do anything. But once it breaks 180, then I can start looking at 182. If it breaks right now, I'll look at 182 as the potential new stop level, because in the event that they break 180, they should not come back above. If they do come back above, then we got a problem here. There could, from what I'm seeing in the pre-market or aftermarket from yesterday, there could be an issue. So I just want to make sure you see some buying around here around 179. I want to make sure that's not going to end this downward move. So in the event that we come back above 182, I'll cut it, walk away. Maybe actually 183. I'll cut it, walk away, take the $4 that the market's going to give me. But if we do get through, just, you got to wait for this one to accelerate. We're looking for an acceleration, because I didn't put up this risk to just walk away from for a $6 winner. We're looking for a move down towards the mid 170s at least before I start taking profit with orders. And of course, trail them, but at the same time, I do want to make sure that I give this chance to Qualcomm to get going to the downside. Futures 1.33 on the S&P, NASDAQ 2.6% on the downside. So we are still waiting for something to happen, because NASDAQ and S&P, they're doing this right back into the top end of this like little range thing from this morning. There's some volume here, so we got to get through that. Maybe lunchtime is when we get through that, so we're still waiting for there. Let's take a quick look at the alert system. What do we have? Apple at the top. Is Apple going? Nope. Apple 15-minute chart. No, Apple's in a range. Okay, Facebook obviously at 25%. ZEV up 20% on the day. Okay, nice little trend to the upside. What do we have on the daily? Running into that 556 even area. So that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to walk away from ZEV. Microsoft. Now, PayPal is one of those trades I had this morning, but I just kind of dumped it. I was short on PayPal earlier, but I kind of gave up on it. It's not doing what I wanted to do. This was exactly what happened. Short 128, goes to 126.50, bounces back. I'm like, nope, there's too much buying. I don't want to be a part of it. Then it decides to go even lower. And so we've walked away from it already. I'm not going to look at PayPal because if you were to look at the daily, there's nothing that the daily can give you to help you out. So you're on your own. It's going to be intraday based. You got to trade it based on what you're seeing today. You don't have anything else to rely on. So if I'm starting to see buying here around this 126, 126.50, I'm done. Right. So I've already walked away from that. That was a trade from earlier. So we're just going to keep looking. Well, NVIDIA, people are saying, okay, I see you guys talking about NVIDIA down 2.6%. What are you doing? Okay. A fail of 246. Okay. What do we have on the daily? Let's take a quick look at the daily. 246. Dead center, right? This is my issue with 246 breaking. I would rather wait for a break of this, which is about 239, I think. Is that the low? 238.90. So I'd rather wait for that low break because to me, there's been a couple of days, 4 days where we kind of found some buying on the dip. 240's also been a problem for us on the way up. Remember this day here on Tuesday, I did buy the dip on at 240 and then we got out. And we trailed it out, and then it kept going, and now it's kind of walking its way back down. I want to see what's left at 240 or in front of 240. If there's some buying left that I can work with, we'll go ahead and take a long with that level. But if we can't get anything, I'm not even going to bother. There's nothing I can use for potential shorts, but I do have potential action down here that could set up a long. So maybe a 242 break of the low that fails would be the trade that I'm looking for because I know I want to play with the long side. If I can just find the setup, then we can go ahead and take it in this down market. So we're going to wait for NVIDIA. I'll actually write this one down in the side here, NVIDIA, and we can just leave it be and find something else. Qualcomm, oh, there we go. Qualcomm taking 180 finally. There we go. Now $7.30 in the money on Qualcomm. Now I can move the stop on Qualcomm. See, this combines with something somebody was asking earlier. It's like, do I trade futures or which one do I prefer to trade, stocks or futures? Well, I prefer to trade futures, but as you can see, based on the way I trade, I don't get that many trades per month on futures. I mean, I'm sure I get maybe probably somewhere between 10 to 20 trades a month, but that could come if it's 0 trades for 4 days and then all of a sudden 3 or 4 trades in one day, that could add up, right? So it doesn't mean I'm trading every single day. That also means I'm sitting here doing absolutely nothing. So obviously I'll play the stocks when I have nothing else going on and it doesn't look like I'm going to get a setup, but I do prefer to play futures because I spend all my time reading the futures charts, volume, the time of sales, everything, right? So I'm more fine-tuned there than I am with the stocks. So my accuracy is not as good as with stocks as it is with futures, but I do prefer to trade futures, and we are moving this stop on Qualcomm right now.
All right, so in the chat, Bears versus Bull Media is asking me to keep Arun's chart dark mode and see if I can get my charts dark mode. And my response to him, his was, I like my job way too much to ask that question to my producers. So how about you email them and ask them, or better yet, how about this? We get the like count to 5,000 likes. Stop. We get the like count to 5,000 likes. I'll change my chart to black without asking. How about that? We'll do that. 5,000 likes.
Stop. You just said this is like getting ridiculous. The reason I haven't even pushed likes today is because it was so foreign to me to push likes so hard just to get it. I just needed to get it to 3K just to get that blonde hair. What are we naturally at right now? I haven't mentioned, like, we're at 626. If you guys feel like liking, if you guys like what we've done, if you like Prad going blonde in a week and a half, just hit the like right now. But I'm not going to be on it like I was yesterday because, hey, you know what? That was a lot.
Yeah.
That's a reason why. That's another reason why I don't care for social media. So it's just one of those things where I'm just like, let it naturally happen. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But yesterday was a different game.
Yeah.
Yesterday
was a mission.
yesterday was a mission. It was a mission that started on Tuesday. Once I found out, and then we had to complete that mission as quick as possible, and we got it done yesterday. And now now I don't know what to do. It's like now it's just like
Now we're just hanging out.
What's my purpose now? What do I do? I obviously make money trading, but what do I do when I'm here? How do I mess with you?
You don't.
If the chat has ideas, can you guys just put it in there? How do I mess with this guy? Because we got the blonde hair. I know people were saying blonde beard too, but I don't know if I want to go that far.
No.
That's tough, and two, that's gonna look ugly when it grows out. So we're gonna leave him alone with the blonde beard. But if there's other ways you think I can mess with this guy, just put in the chat. I will find a way to spend my time doing something else.
So people were asking about SoFi. Yeah, I'm actually getting long on SoFi right now while we're looking at this position. 1160 has some size on it, and then the stock was pretty much testing that size, and it looked like it was real size. It didn't go down. There we go. And now that size is 1164, so he's running that order up. He's at 1160. He's at 1164. The same two gateways, EdgeX and PhilX. EdgeX. Nope, he's on ARCA on 1140, but he's a legitimate order at 1164. My size is at 1166. Let's see if we can start running this stock up a little bit by leaning on this size. Obviously, if that size gets taken out and the 1160 size gets taken out, then we'll just take that tiny 4-cent, 6-cent loss and call it a day on SoFi, leaning on the front running size in a way, basically. Over here on SoFi. And if you look at on the dailies, I was trying to find some levels to go off on the daily. So this level over here, $12. I thought previously it was 1150, but I'm not really finding that 1150 barrier where I took a long on last time. So maybe it was $11 instead that I took a long on. This is today's low, 1157. So we're not talking about that. Looks like actually 1164 size got taken away. Now the size left is the 1160 size. So we're waiting to see if that one's gonna get tested. It is being tested right now, and just taking a little bit more size over there because I want this much size for my trade. Obviously, we'll see if 1160 is still holding. And they're actually going to the offers instead of smashing the bids. So these are all great indications. And if obviously the low a day being 1156 gets taken out, we don't want to be holding this trade. So I'll just throw my stop out in a second or two while we're talking about SoFi. Let's quickly go to DraftKings. What is Donkey Kong doing today?
Say that again, Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong.
Oh, okay.
I
hear something else.
Probably. Donkey Kong. Sorry, the enunciation's not there today, apparently.
He's been putting in work. Apparently, shoveling that snow got all the energy out of you.
Oh, man. I woke up so early, and it took so long. I was so tired. So tired. I should have just used the snowblower, man.
You have a snowblower and you're manually... Oh, my God.
I didn't even use it. I should have just used a snowblower. I know. But DraftKings, obviously 10 million shares traded today. It's down on the day, but not in a big way that we have been used to seeing DraftKings go down towards. So overall, down almost 3% with 10 million shares, trying to go back to the pre-market levels around $21. If we do find support at $21, that'd be great because that's where the stock kind of closed at yesterday around 4 o'clock. So if we do find support back at the same level, DraftKings would be nice to see it go back to the north side. Actually, wait, how did it? Yeah, it did not close there. That's after hours 4:30. It closed at. What is this? It closed around 21.68. That makes sense because if it closed at 21, we would be up on DraftKings.
Futures ES futures coming down, but NASDAQ really attacking these lows here. The low of the day is 675, and we're sitting at 689. So we are looking to go towards these lows here. The only thing with the low, though, I'm worried about is on the way up here, going back to the 31st. It looks like we were stalling out from that 670 area going down to 650. So you may have to use 650 as the breakout point if you are looking for a quick scalp move towards the downside. There is space. As you can see, the zone doesn't, for me, the buy zone doesn't start until we're at 14.5, right? So we got 150 points in the event that 650 goes. But what I'm looking forward forward to seeing here is if we take the lows, are we going to snap right back up because of the support we've got between a 680 and 650, or are we going to just straight take off to the downside, right? The thing with Facebook or Meta being down, what is it down right now? 25%. So thing with Meta being down 25% is that it's in the top 5 in terms of weight, or top 6 in terms of weight in the index, in the NASDAQ index. So when a name like that decides to go to the downside, it's going to have an influence on the index, and you're seeing that type of weight being dragged. So as long as Microsoft's not up huge, Microsoft's down 1.8. Apple, I'm going towards the names that have more weight in the index than Apple or Facebook does, but it looks like Apple's also down. So you have Apple down, you have Microsoft down, and if you look at other names in the index, you have Tesla up 1.7, so they're kind of offsetting each other, but Microsoft and Apple at the top of that wait list, and then Facebook is also down 25%. So you have negative bias and negative weight coming in on the NASDAQ futures. Makes sense why we're getting pushed towards the lows. Looks like ES also wants to go towards the 05 low, 45.05. So we are making a move, late session run to the downside, not late session, mid-session run to the downside, which will be interesting to see how the day closes. Because if we start to accelerate, like I mentioned, we have a ton of space to the downside before we hit any buy zones. We have a decent space. That means if we accelerate, we've got a long way to go. So that could be an ugly move to the downside if we do pick up some steam here as we take these lows. I just noticed that pins, after being out of the money pretty much all day, finally has decided to turn back in the money. Pins short right here around this 25 area. I have 24.90, and we're finally starting to move to the downside. Why did I go for the short on pins? This is why. Nice little gap down right into a buy into this little zone here. I didn't think we'd get to 26, which was the low from the 28th. So I didn't think we'd get there, so I just went in front of 25 and tried to play against this 28 area. So putting up $3 or so, but I am looking towards a downside move. See if we can get that going. And if the market gets going, I think we're going to have these names that aren't even associated with the indexes start getting influenced into a downward move. So that'd be a nice little thing to have. MCHP, I just realized, is down 4.6% and heading to the downside on a trend. Ugh, I don't like this daily. Okay, we're not going to look at that. All right, what else are you guys talking about it? Does a stop show on the level 2 just as any other order would? For us, the way our platform is built, it does. Actually, does it?
Well, does what?
We have a brand new release of software, and I can't remember what the changes were. If you're watching from our company here with DayTrading.Live, I don't know yet with our new software if the stops show on the level 2, but with our previous versions of our software, it's only been shown in the script order portion or in the limit order portion of the history log. So it's not going to be on the level 2, right, for our software. But I need to double check what the new release, because we just released a brand new one not too long ago. And that one may have some changes as the lows get taken on the futures. That one may have some changes that allows some more functionality, which is a hilarious thing because I should know this because in about a week and a half or so, Prad, the day after Prad goes blonde, I actually have a webinar with our managers where I go over the software with them. So I need to get on top of this because that's something I need to look into because I do need to show these guys what the new advantages are. So I will look into that. If you are part of DayTrading.Live, I will look into that and I will have an answer for you when we do our webinar on the 15th. If you are not part of the DayTrading.Live, just know it doesn't show as of the software that I'm running. It does not show script orders on the level 2 just yet.
Right. Is it easy to learn? Okay, I'm going to go quickly take a look at what the meme stocks are doing today. Meme stocks such as AMC, GME, and I'll put Wish in there too. I know Wish had some structural changes over there. They changed the CEO, so we'll go see if Wish has made any moves to the north side or not. What just happened? one of my orders got kicked out. Oh, SoFi just got kicked out. Let's go check out what SoFi is doing. SoFi did take out that level at 1160 is the one that we were leaning on, so that got kicked out. Tiny loss for SoFi. I think we lost at best 6 cents or maybe 7 cents. What did I get filled at? Yeah, 7 cents is exactly what we lost. So we'll take that loss. We'll see now, because obviously the market taking out the low over here for NASDAQ and for ES. We're not going to lean on that same level. There is some size on 1150 though. Let's see if 1150 gets taken out. I'm going to
SoFi, right?
SoFi.
Yeah, I just see low's going, eh?
Yeah.
Is it set up to go though? Does it have space
it
to
looks
move?
like it wants to take out that low at 1150 and most likely go all the way to $11. I'm just watching the tape and I'm seeing nothing but red, and every single offer is just getting smashed. So I'm getting prepared to see if the market takes out even more to the downside. If 4500 does not hold on the ES, I'm not sure if 4500 is a significant level. Maybe Arun can answer that for me. 4500.
Yeah, I would say 44.95 probably opens the door a little bit to the downside. Not necessarily 4,500. There's still some support below 4,500. So I'm going to say 43.95. If you break 43.95, we probably have another 15 points easy to the downside. But, I mean, it's going to be tough sledding, right? There's going to be pockets of buy-side support on the way down. And we're kind of in one right now. We just need to kind of go another few, what are we at, 45.01? We need to go another 5-6 points before we can kind of get past that pocket and into the next one. So for now, we are in some support. So we're going to wait for this one to either accelerate, set something up, and people are talking about Sens. I'm watching Sens. After you guys talked about it, I pulled it up. It is trending up. Nice little trend, a nice little acceleration here in the last half hour or so, 15-cent move. But the issue with Sens is that look where you're running into right here against this 320. That's going to be a problem. So once we clear 320, and you can see this, there's the amount of time and volume we spent in July and then supported in October and then resisted in December. I mean, you can't deny that. There's going to be a problem here between 320 and 340. So once you cross 340, I would even argue 350, then it'd probably be easier to kind of go for the long. If you're looking for fade against this, that could potentially be it too. But there's a lot to get through here on Sens, and it is up 8%, up 23 cents on the day, but it is going to hit something soon. If it continues, I mean, then wide open. As I say that, PayPal taking off to the downside. Damn. Okay, PayPal. And Qualcomm still going. Sweet. Now Qualcomm at 178. That's $8.80 in the money. Remember, the trail stop on this is now 183. So we're locking in about $4. It's just under $4 or so. And we're letting the rest of it go. First target I actually have is down at 173. So I'm waiting for another $5 move. I'm not touching this. We've cleared what I wanted to clear. I'm waiting for another $5 on Qualcomm before I go ahead and take some profits. So we are waiting for that as the market is now bouncing off the 4,500, but it has put in some lows, or has taken out some lows. So maybe we can get some acceleration, clear 43.95 or 44.95, and then we can get going to the downside, preferably, right? So that's the way that I'm going to go ahead and take my trades as I see. Damn, okay, futures bouncing a little bit. That's fine. The reason I'm looking at the futures is I'm like, well, if futures bounces and Qualcomm bounces with it, then I'm probably going to get stopped out. But it does look like Qualcomm is going to accelerate through this 178. So maybe we do get that 173. It could be possible. I thought that would be the target, but we'll see. If maybe it'll be done in the next 2 hours, and I can actually, walk away with like a what would it be, 15-point winner on Qualcomm by the time we're done the show. If the market cooperates, you never know.
So I was looking at SoFi this whole time while you were talking about the market, and what I did notice is SoFi's size on 1150 doubled up. SoFi's size on 1151 got added. I got filled on 1151, and I took out liquidity at 1152. So my average being basically in between both of them, which was 515. I'm getting ready. If market can make a move over here and find bids in front of support, and if SoFi can double up some orders over here on the bids, I'm going to try to lean again, take more size than I took the first time, but this time I'm risking no, not much than a couple cents, right? The first time I risked 7 cents. This time I'm risking the break of 11.50, which is basically, maybe 3 cents at best if you include slippage. I know I'm not getting slipped way too far because of the order type that we have, and there's liquidity actually sitting there for me to punch out of, right? So I'm not too worried about it. If it does slip, even if it slips 5 cents or whatever, you take that loss and you move on. I'm surprised because this stock just popped out of nowhere. So let me just throw out some orders here to take some dubs on this side. I don't want that much, so I'll just take, whoa, what am I doing?
You're on the wrong screen, bro.
Am I?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But, okay, anyways.
You're good. You're flustered.
Yeah,
do your thing.
This
I'll
just
take
popped out of nowhere. So
Yeah, take care of that. Just send it to me.
You.
I will take a look at Qualcomm. Someone was asking, where do I find support on Qualcomm? It's going to be here. This is kind of the area where my stop is. The reason I chose 173, because I'm like, we bounced around here. I'll kind of like, it's a loose level, 173, 174, somewhere around there is where I want to kind of get it out. You see it, right? We kind of shot down there and then right back up. And then we spent time on the first as well. We kind of hesitated a little bit to the downside. We bounced up, and on the way up, we kind of hesitated on the way up to 174. So I'm thinking 174 to 173 or 174 to 172. So I'm kind of splitting it in the middle and putting 173, but I may miss that. So if it starts to stall out as we get closer to it, I'm gonna, start taking some profit. But at the same time, because that's my target and there's nothing in between from where we are and where my target is, I'm not even going to bother locking anything in. I'm going to leave the stop where it is, which is going to be 183, and that's it. If this market spends the next 2-3 hours just going sideways here, that's fine with me. You're either going to get me to my 174 range, or you're going to bounce back up above 180, and I'm going to walk away from this trade. Nothing else to be done. You just got to do what you need to do when you need to do it. You don't need to constantly stare at the screen and be like, maybe I should take some here, or maybe it depends. If you're a scalper, then that's what you're doing. But again, you guys can see this over and over again over the last few days. I'm not a scalper. So I kind of sit there and just let them work themselves out. Like, when you don't have to worry about your winners because they'll take care of themselves. All you have to do is just manage the position. Your job is to just manage it. So in such a way where they have the freedom to move, but at the same time, you're locking in as much as you possibly can while it still makes sense, right? And I noticed that people are talking about DWAC as well. Yeah, DWAC got smoked here from 84 down to 80. Quick, aggressive move here. But, I mean, that's the stock you're playing. You want to play this game on a stock that's going to go from 80 to 86 in less than 10 minutes, then you're going to, you got to expect the downside too from 84 to 80 in less than 10 minutes. So that's the game you play when you play with a stock like this. It's like playing Tesla, right? Are you really up? If you're up $5 on Tesla, are you really up?
That's a great question.
Because that can disappear in a heartbeat if you're playing Tesla. Like 1 minute chart. Let's just see the widest 1 minute chart. Yeah, it's like $5. Well, okay, maybe it's like $3. Today, the widest 1 minute move is like $3. So like it can disappear in a couple minutes. So you need to give space to stocks and setups that you think are going to work out well. So for me, Qualcomm, we're just going to wait it out and leave it be. Why 184? You probably meant 174 on Qualcomm. The reason I said 174 is because, man, did I mess this up? Why 184 now 180? Oh, probably the stop you meant. Okay. The reason being I chose 180 or 184 is because the majority of the support buying is sitting above 180. So putting a stop right into a location where we've already shown some early buying is probably not the best way to go. So I want to make sure we clear all of those previous buyers. At that point, I'm like, you know what? Okay, this trading is done. The stock's got no juice left to the downside. So at that point, we have enough buying, no selling left. I'll walk away from it. That's why I'm sitting all the way up at 183 actually, and not at 180, because it's easy for this stock to go right up to 180, go up to maybe 181 or so, shoot up because there's still some selling or some previous selling that should be there, and then come right back down. You don't want to get caught in a false move to the upside that just gets you out of a trade for no reason, right? So that's why I sit further back to make sure that we're actually going to clear any previous zones so that I can be confident. You know what? If I got out because this market has more buying than I was expecting at a certain level, not because it shot up through an even round number and came right back down. That's a problem. You want to try to avoid those, because those can ruin your trades. Because think about it, if you spent hours waiting for a trade to happen and then you're managing the trade, and then all you did was move your stop in the wrong place and you get squeezed out because you're trying to lock in as much profit as possible just because you want to lock in the cash, and the trade keeps on going, that's a problem. You spent all that time and then you just ruined the trade because the management was sloppy, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. So that's my thing of letting trades kind of move around. But the downside of doing this is also that you give back a lot. So let's just say Qualcomm picks up buying and then they continue their buying. Well, that means you got to be okay with giving the extra $3 up. And I'm okay with that because over the long run, I kind of do better that way anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
There was this thing that I was watching for basically, I don't know if you've heard of it, Market Profiler, TPO chart.
Time price opportunity,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I know Market Profile. Yeah, actually, you know what? Do I even have it? I don't know. My eSignal account has like a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Maybe Market Profile is one of the chart types I have. I don't even know. I'll look it up. But I know what you're talking about. What about
Is that
it?
like something that you would use for finding where to hold your stops? Because in that video, the person who was explaining it was basically using like, oh, on letter A, on letter B, these are where stops are running out. These are where most of the liquidity or the volume is being offered to the sellers and the buyers. So is that like something you've
Let me
tried
ask you
before?
a question. Like people that are looking, I know Market Profile. When you say letter A, let's just say you're just looking at Market Profile all of a sudden, and you say letter A or letter B. Do you know what that means?
I'm learning from watching it. I don't really truly know what it means, but I know he's talking about like each letter represents the time where the trade has occurred, and then if it's like a single print, it's basically stops getting blown out, and you would what a low node is, which is where the selling shuts off and then the buying comes in or whatever. There's so much information overload over there.
That's a chart.
Yeah.
That's just a straight up chart.
Yeah.
Like a node or whatever. So A and B in the letters it just represents a function of time.
Yeah.
Usually I believe it's half an hour blocks.
He
right?
said
It's
half an hour.
So half an hour block is represented by a letter, and all you are essentially doing is taking a 30-minute chart, taking out the wicks, putting in letters to figure out where the majority of the volume is.
Okay.
Right?
So this is a candle chart at the end of the day.
It's a different way
30-minute
of
candle
looking
chart.
at a candle chart. It's there's information that people look at with the Market Profile is because it also tells you where the majority of the volume is.
Right.
So when you have gap downs and stuff, if you're running into resistance, you can see that easily from the candle or from the profile chart because it's right there for you because it's already divided into 30-minute blocks, right? But at the same time, for me anyways, I had an issue with that when I initially learned that. I can do the same thing by looking at the daily chart.
Fair.
Right? Obviously, I don't know exactly where the high volume zone is. That's where that gives you an advantage. But that's if you give me some time, I can with eSignal and the software that I have,
for sure,
I can put together something that can mimic a profile chart, the same data that I would get from a profile chart.
Awesome, yeah.
Right onto eSignal without actually using a profile chart.
For sure. I'll give you the time. In that video though, the one thing that he mentioned was very interesting for me to learn. Obviously, the thing was. On a down move, it's always the short sellers first buying back their shares, and then the people who want to go long are fighting for the price or haggling for the price. And on an up move, it's always the short sellers who are jumping in to short the stock first, and then come in the longers who are already long trying to get out of their position. So the people who are kind of basically you're trying to play with or against most of the time, moving the market are kind of your short sellers, because they're the one buying up the shares first and creating the supply, or they're the one pushing the stock down first and creating the down move, and then the rest of them are jumping on by either closing their longs or by going long overall. So I don't know how true that statement is. This guy was an ex-market maker, according to him. I'm not denying that claim either. I just understanding that concept kind of on the way to work today was a little hard for me. I was like, maybe that's true, because if you think about it, we are the ones, well, when I say we, because I always think about shorting stocks first, but the short sellers are the ones kind of, moving or trying to dictate the price all day over here. And of course the longs are too. But I just want to know how much valid that statement has. So whenever we go back to Arun, we can go on that.
Yeah, well, you can come back to me now. I've
Sure.
got the chart up and running, right?
Sure.
So essentially, this is what I have. Like, this is just a candle chart. And all I've done
Volume
is
profile?
added. It's not even a volume profile. It's just volume. It's called the volume at price indicator, which just tells me where the concentration of volume is on all the bars that I can see. Right. So up to the 31st, you can see where the majority of the volume is, including today. So obviously it's still counting, but the majority of volume is sitting here around 4,500. Then you have a blip right here around 4420-ish. Makes sense. This is where the market stalled out. And then obviously this pocket right here around 4350, 4360. That's where I want to start playing. So this information could be helpful if I came into the day and the market was actually like down right into a pocket of support, or where there was a ton of volume, right? The volume profile is just a different way of seeing this. Essentially, it's a cleaner way of seeing this, because it's just letters, and then once the day is done, we just start a brand new kind of profile itself, right? And then you're like, oh, it gapped here, gap there, whatever. You can make it look like that. And then I also have something on eSignal that's called the Delta chart. For anyone who knows Delta charts, these are cool to look at and helpful at times, but it can get very confusing very quickly if you look at this. Because the reason being, it tells you, I can break it down by how much was bought and sold per candle, per candle, and here we go. We'll just do volume delta, and I'll break it down to a 5-minute, and then this way I can actually show you guys. Once it's done loading, it's going to take some time to load. So we'll do something. Oh, there we go. Let me change some adjustments, remove this study, and change the type of chart to the bid ask. And oh, you can't even see it, but can you see it? Oh, you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Barely though. It's kind of dark, but essentially what it does is it breaks down the volume of what was bought on what volume was done on the buy and the sell. So you have two numbers side by side with an X in the middle. So how much was hitting the bid, how much was hitting the offer, and then the purple boxes are pretty much where the majority of the volume was for that 5-minute period. So if I were to kind of do this,
Oh wow, okay.
I can see where pockets of...
You're like looking inside the candle.
I'm looking inside the candle.
Yeah.
It's breaking the candle down and
That's
giving
pretty
me
cool.
exact pockets of volume, right? If I were to put a bunch of these purple candles together, or purple boxes together, clearly around 15 going up into 18, there's a ton of volume, right? Because those are all high volume locations, right? So this is essentially a different version of a volume profile.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many variations of this that you can look at. You can always find something that's like, oh, this is going to help me. I've had this for years. I stopped using this a long time ago. It's there, but it's just one of those things where it can become an information overload, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Right? So you just got to get very good at knowing what information you need in front of you to make a decision, and not trying to put everything in front of you, at which point it doesn't help you. It just makes things worse, because then you see so many things.
Complicating your setup.
Right, exactly. Oh, nice little move. We hit, what did we hit there? 95 and a bounce. See, 43.95 is what I was looking at. 43.95 is going to be or 44.95 is going to be the location where we need to get through if we're going to get going to the sell side. Yes, we put in some lows. We took out the lows and we're bouncing back. But at the same time, it's going to be that 44.95 because of the way we move through those 4,500s on the way up. So I am looking at 495 as a potential break point. If we got below that, like I said, we got like 15 points worth of space to the downside to continue its move.
The demand for Arun to join the show on the daily is insane, and honestly, I love it too because I get to pick his brain, and for sure, it all depends up to obviously Arun and the producers. So please keep on smashing those like buttons, because more like buttons equals the higher chance that Arun gets to stay here a little bit longer with us. SoFi still in the money, only 2 cents now. Only 2 cents? Yeah, only 2 cents now. But, you know, we took a couple profits on the way up. My best out so far is 60 flat, so I have more orders on the way up, every 5 cents spaced out, and basically taking exits all the way out. I also have a stop on the way down. Where's my stop at? I need to recreate that stop to the size I have. There we go. And we're just going to leave that bad boy all alone, let it do its thing. JD with the super chat, thank you for the new member in a row. Okay, let me just quickly take a look at this. So we got Purushottam with the new member. Let's go. Welcome to the family, Purushottam. Anzi, I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for the €1 super chat. Anzi. JD, the homie JD. I hope the DD helped. Honestly, I didn't look at it, I'll be honest, because I try to not look at other people's DD. I try to keep it to myself, because that way when I do lose a trade, I blame myself. I am kind of the person who will look for excuses first, and then I'll look to be accountable. So instead of you know, looking for excuses to lose, which is blaming you if I lose on your trade, I'll just not look at it and I'll just trade my setups. But thank you for that, DD, overall. And about the next part of the next part over here, did you start looking at skin shades to match your tone and blah 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 blah? Funny enough, I went home.
Oh no!
I went home and I was looking for some virtual hair testing softwares or hair color changing softwares. So here's what apparently the blonde Prad is gonna look like if it does happen.
No,
I'm not sure.
No, that is such a letdown. You said platinum. That is not platinum.
Look, I tried in that software to look for platinum blonde. There wasn't platinum blonde.
Okay,
in there.
but it doesn't matter. You're getting platinum blonde. Just show up.
You know, platinum blonde is like bleaching your hair, bro. Platinum blonde.
You're young. You can get over it.
Look at this.
You're young. You can get over it. It will grow out.
Look at the picture. Look at the picture. Is that fine? That's fine.
No,
bro.
that is
Come
not
on.
platinum blonde, dude. That's not even trying. How dare you let the people down like that? You're not even trying. They went hard to get 3,200 likes, and you're not even gonna try to get blonde hair.
So I gotta go like this.
Yes.
Like full bleach.
Yes.
Bro,
listen, you're not the only person. You're not the only person in the world who's bleached their hair.
I'm gonna white walker.
It will be perfectly fine once it grows back out. It will be healthy. You just got to cut it off, and it'll be fine. All right. So just go get your platinum blonde, and stop whining and trying to find different excuses. This is not trading,
like, bro.
No, it's expensive to get your hair done properly.
Oh well, that's it.
He's just gonna die. It's gonna be almost impossible to dye your hair.
It needs to be professionally done. Oh my! All right, everyone's on me over here.
It's got to be done.
But hey, listen. I said I'll go home and I'll do the work.
What's that?
Halim don't do that. That's right. No, I said I'll go home and I'll put in the work. I said I'll do the research. Listen, I started it. Granted, it's not platinum. We'll get there. You know, I'm trying a bunch of softwares. I'm trying the ones that have the platinum in there too to see if
Someone's going on Photoshop for you just to put it together.
Put platinum on
just
me?
to put platinum on you.
Go for it.
So,
I'll send you the link for the picture if you want. Here, let me just put the link for that picture.
Oh, Nick coming in again. What did he say now? Yeah, he's like, no playing games. That's not blonde. That's barely brown.
Come on, you guys are nuts.
See?
Well, that picture's gone. You're just gonna have to here. You got a quick second to screenshot this. That's it.
All right, there you go.
You got a
there
quick
you go.
second to screenshot that. You can Photoshop it, do whatever, post it on Discord or slide in the DMs, and we'll deal with it then.
Oh, there you go. See, they're gonna hold you accountable for this now. Because like Nick said, you're not even trying at that point. That's just, what did he say exactly? He said, that's
no
brown
games, Prad. That's not blonde. That's barely brown hair. That's been exposed to extreme heat for a while. You will not escape this.
There you go. So unfortunately for you, you have become platinum Prad without the platinum hair, and people can't. No, that's a big no-no. So that can't go down like that. Sorry, bro.
Nah, we're good. We're good. I was just looking at Amy over here, AMC and GME. I was gonna talk about AMC, but Sophie had me distracted. So let's quickly take a look at AMC. Still under 16 bucks, which is a little like, come on, why are we under 16? Let's get back above 16. 16 was a previous support, which was what everyone was looking to get long on. And now that we're here, I think obviously. Would love to see the stock go back to $20 and get back above 20 for anyone who's actually invested in the stock. I personally am not. 22 million shares today. Trying to find currently where we are. And the high day was what? At $15.85. And GME back to $100. So we opened at 101 and the lower day 96.84. So we did go to 96.84 off the open, but back above 100 for GME. Still surprised that we've somehow managed to magnet all the way back to 100 on the stock. But overall, though, I guess as long as they're able to show proof of a concept that they're going to be turning into a great company thanks to Ryan Cohen, then I guess investors are going to keep on soaking up this GME shares below 100 because it's a what do they say? It's a fire sale every time it hits below 100 for GME.
Hey, Prad, so they want another chance to get some screenshot there. So.
Another chance for a screenshot?
You were too quick with it. Now everyone gets a disclaimer. There you go. And that's good. There you go.
Another chance for a screenshot.
So everyone coming in. So where do they send these screenshots?
They can go to Discord, do ! Discord. You can put it on Twitter and then tag us, like tag Sean, me. Arun's not there. Neil. Tag anyone and we'll see it. Or just slide into my Instagram DMs or my Twitter DMs and just put it up in there. Whatever works.
What are your Instagrams and your Twitters?
You can do ! Prad for that, and you'll get both the links for that. Man, look at Arun. Arun's a professional over here with this with these segues. I love it.
I told you. Hey, it got done yesterday. We're gonna make sure that there's no reason not to.
No backing out.
No, it's not no backing out, but like no technical reason you can be like, oh, I didn't know, or I didn't do this. People are putting in the work. They're gonna Photoshop for you. They're gonna do all that stuff to make it as easy as possible. You just show up, be like, I want to look like that, and boom,
all right,
done.
All right,
done.
They're gonna make it. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there. Let's move back into stocks because they're gonna make me blush. My cheeks were already hurting all day yesterday from just like smiling nonstop, and they're already at that point right now. Oh,
yeah. Well, I was going through the chat. Everyone's like, "Oh, come on the show, come on the show." Well, I don't mind filling in here and there, but a lot of the times I just like to trade. That's just me. I'm just a trader. I don't feel that I'm much of a camera guy. So for me, I like to focus on what I do the most, which is I've got the right setup. I've got my trading going. Here and there, I'll do a webinar for the managers, and then I'll fill in for the guys when someone's off, like in this case, Valeriia. I think for me, I like that way. So unfortunately, I don't think every day is it's not something that I'm considering right now. That may change in the future, but at the moment, I think the direction that I have and the layout and the setup and the schedule that I have for myself, I think that's the right setup right now that I've got. So we'll see if that changes, but I may change my mind about that. But for now, I like what I'm doing and how it's going about. So, I mean, it's fun too, right? Once in a while, for the longest time, was at home and a lot of the guys were off, so no one was here, and none of the traders that I'm used to seeing were here. So I was at home, and then randomly it would be nice to show up. And then it just got to a point where I'm just like, you know what? I got everything set up the way I want. I'm good. And I messaged the guys that I need to message, and I think everything's set up the right way. It's kind of ideal and efficient. I think efficient is the word that I use a lot, is that I whether it's my trading or any other thing, I just like to be as efficient as possible. And I think right now the setup I've got is pretty efficient.
I love it. Obviously, don't break what's not broken, right?
Yeah.
Going back to SoFi over here to check on my position. I feel so naked today because I only have 39 trades. Usually I'm at like either 139, 200 trades. I know Sean and Neil are like crazy. They have like 500 trades on a daily basis. So I feel a little bit, like I'm doing nothing. Even though I'm up on the day, I feel like I'm doing absolutely nothing. SoFi is what we're gonna talk about. SoFi coming back to 1151, and every time we do come here, ooh, is that an iceberg? Can I see the size decrease a little bit when we're going down? Looks like there could be a program iceberg over here that keeps refreshing the size on 1151, not letting it go down to 1150 to actually test the size there to see if it's legitimate. So looks like whoever's front running 1150 is legitimate enough and believes that 1150 is legitimate. And look at that, a low a day is pretty much exactly at our entry price for SoFi. That's not SoFi. Can I get SoFi chart here? There we go. Low a day, pretty much exactly where we're at. You've already seen me get a couple scalps off of it. I'll show you what the market's looking like right now. The market keeps on bouncing off in front of 4,500. As Arun said, though, I think you did give it a wiggle room of 44.95. You said
44.95 is the break point for the downside for me, at least.
So 44.95 wiggle room. So that was was he right or was he right? That was pretty much that wick bottom over there on the down move, and even that down move did not take SoFi all the way to 1150 to test that size. So I'm still very happy with my entry here. I still believe in my trade. Not enough to re-add my 2 exits because I still have a pretty big size on. I still have 80% left on this bag, and I only took out 20%. So obviously we want to be waiting to see if NASDAQ and SPYs can both keep on bouncing off those levels to give us a nice long trade on SoFi. Let's go check on Palantir. Palantir, obviously, this one is the Cathy Wood ARK investment basket stocks that we love watching. The Hail Mary Tom Brady pass coming in. Speaking of Tom Brady, man, the first year that I get into NFL, the first game I watch, it happens to be the last game I'll ever watch off Tom Brady. What a joke.
Where were you for the last however many years?
That was like, what a joke. Like, you had to retire then. You can't play 2 more seasons, bro.
Where were you for the last 6 championships?
Seasons, bro? Come on.
Or 7 championships?
He has 8 rings.
He has 7 rings? 7 rings. I think he has 7 rings.
So you can't go for 3 more?
Where were you?
You can't go
Where
for 3.
have you been?
Listen, man, listen.
Where were you last year?
More?
Where were you last year
bro.
when it was Tampa against KC? How did you not watch that game?
I don't even know who.
Oh my God.
Then KC is that Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
Team? Okay, yeah, I watched him play too. That was good.
This year or last year?
This year.
Okay, where were you when it was him facing Tom Brady?
I was anti-NFL because all I thought was it was a stupid sport that just gave concussions to people.
I mean, it's a sport that does give concussions to people, but yeah, I don't know. Like, you missed like that game, and then now you're complaining that he's gone this year.
Yes, I'm gonna complain because. Oh, come on.
Okay.
Oh, come on. What?
Google how many people die.
Bro, like, oh, come on, bro. No.
Oh, they're having an argument F1 versus football. So
they're going at me right now.
Yeah.
They're going at me because I went at their sport. Hey, I'll take it. So, they have a valid point there.
Yeah.
They have a valid point.
There
you
go.
want to say it? What they said?
What? You say it.
So
they said it to you.
basically, Sean and Neil turn around and they go, hey, listen, you can't be talking about NFL that way when your favorite sports are UFC and Formula 1, where Formula 1 has the most deaths compared to player ratio. And UFC, you're literally getting punched in the face every second for the 5 minutes every 30 seconds or whatever the time span is, right? So you're not wrong. They have a valid point. I just never cared about football until recently.
Why?
And
What made you change?
because my buddy told me to put $20 on Tampa.
Oh, that's why you care. Okay.
My buddy
Got
told
it.
me to put $20 on Tampa.
This is what happens, guys. This is a very good example of why you don't trade someone else's book.
Hey.
Right? Just like in trading, just because someone else says, hey, take this shot or take this trade or make this bet, you don't do it because now he's out $20 because someone else told him that he should do something that he did not think about, did not go through, and whether it made sense.
Listen,
So unfortunately for you, you're out $20.
Yeah. A little bit more than $20.
Okay,
sadly.
then apparently you were just downplaying that $20, eh?
No. If you include the whole trade, which was the $20 on the Tampas, and then I had another 180 on UFC, which all of it was gone.
Oh, okay. So there you
All
go.
of
This
it
man
was
is
gone.
having a rough session with his
Oh,
bets
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
I was in the chat there. I was looking and I saw Neil's like I accept, and I looked it up. What did he accept? He's like 5K likes, and Arun and Neil go bald at the same time. Anonymous, you don't have to wait for 5K. If you just wait a few more months, I will be bald fairly soon. So it's gonna naturally get there. With 5K likes, and the issue with that as well is that if I go bald now, this hair is never growing back. Let me just live it out until it's no longer coming back. It's not that far away now, so we'll just leave it be, naturally let it go. Futures bouncing off that 95 area. Hey, okay, and Qualcomm back above 180. Damn. Okay, I guess we're not getting to 180 or 173. So. Stop is still 170 at 183. We'll lock it in, give it a chance for this stock to move. Remember, the reason why we're doing this is because there's nothing really stopping this market from going to 170. I don't think there is, but obviously, nice little bounce in the futures is going to be a problem. So here we are, just trailing this and letting it go. If I need to walk away with a $4 winner instead of a $12 winner, it is what it is. We'll just leave it be. It's going to be managed properly, and we'll just leave it as is. And pins Pins was setting up. Pins is fine. It's just taking a sweet time doing absolutely nothing below 25. So we're going to leave it alone. These are the two positions I've got, and that's it.
Coming back to me, we have a couple super chats over here 10 minutes ago. The good Chad, what's up, good Chad? He will probably get a girl because he'll look fun and not so uptight.
But I want to say one thing with that. Prad, if maybe not on camera, he doesn't come off this way. Prad is probably one of the most fun guys to be around.
Thank you.
And girls love him.
Thank you.
I've seen him at the bar. He would definitely do. He does well already, but he would definitely do really well if he had some platinum hair, some actual platinum hair, and not some overheated hair, brown hair, as Nick said. So I think that'll work in your favor even more. He's got some flow to him. I've seen him. He's got some flow to him.
I could talk about
which surprised me.
I could just talk forever. That's all it is. That's
so you
why.
just talk until you bore them, and they just like, oh, okay, fine,
either
whatever.
they go home or they leave. That's how they come down to. No, coming back to another super chat. Obviously, who else but Nick Ganguly, the man just making it rain. Rain Man, I guess. I don't know if Rain Man's a good thing or a bad thing. I forget if it's a bad thing or a good thing, but I hope it's a good thing. Members, let's create a Platinum Prad project committee to do the research for him. Oh, okay, because for the hair research committee, well, I guess you're a little bit late on that research committee because here are the pictures. So let's go. Here comes the Platinum Prad pictures. What is this, bro?
I like the color.
What is this?
I don't know about the design, but I do like the color. I think that's a nice color.
This looks like I'm Amir Zing. This looks like one of our viewers. Here, I'll show you what our viewer looks like. Our viewer is actually very stylish, amazing photographer, and he's worked with like Kobe Bryant and people like of that stature. You got me looking like Amir Zing, bro. Look at this guy's hair, and look at this guy's hair. You got me looking like Amir. If only I looked like Amir, though. This guy's work is absolute masterpieces. Like, he has such great pictures.
Okay, so wait. So he would know a lot about like what color hair you should have, like the actual color number.
I don't know that.
Well, he might know.
Oh, Amir might. Yeah,
he might
Amir
know.
might.
So maybe that's your guy that can tell you. You know what, Prad? You look like in a blonde, whatever, number 5 or whatever it is.
Okay.
So maybe that's the guy to go to. But I do like that color, though. That's a nice looking color. Is that the only two that you got?
Those
so
are
far?
the only two I see so far. We'll probably see more coming in. I'm just trying to open up my charts here. But, okay, going back to the market a little bit. Palantir actually taking out the lows at the moment. Looks like we're going to create a new low a day. 1278 is the low a day. We did create a new low a day. Look at that volume spike also. We forgot to mention the close of Europe. Who cares? Because obviously Europe is not a market we trade, but the European market could have brought the the North American market a little bit lower and create that low near 4,500 all the way to 44.95. And also what I'm looking at is 1242. We also forgot to mention the low volume period. You know, it is such great fun talking to Arun, and you know, also them having fun together with me and so on. The idea behind there is like it's not much to do because from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock it's lunch hour. People go for their expensive lunches after making millions and millions of dollars. So when volume depreciates, you're basically fighting algorithms and computers that are 10 times better than you, 10 times faster than you. They know where your limits are, and you don't want to be fighting against them 90% of the time. Maybe there's that 10% of the time where you actually make money 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. But 90% of the time, you're just fighting algorithms, and you're going to probably lose going that way. So be careful trading in those times, and obviously that's why we haven't made a single execution for so long now. My last execution long was pretty much at a sharp 12 o'clock, and since then haven't made a single entry in anything. So low volume period, another 15 minutes left for that low volume period to end technically. So if at 1 o'clock we get some volume spikes coming in across the board in the market, that'd be some good opportunities to look for some trades. Maybe Palantir long, which is once again back to the low a day over here. Maybe a DraftKings trade. Where's DraftKings at? Back to 21 and bouncing off of 21. Amazing. Exactly what we want to see on DraftKings. And where's DraftKings, Palantir? What's the other one that I have in my portfolio? I don't even know anymore. DraftKings, SoFi, Palantir, AMD. I guess we'll go look at AMD. Tech stocks obviously should be down. Yeah, there we go. AMD was up 0.75, even though Nasdaq was down more than 2% at one point. But now with the down move and taking out the low that Nasdaq was leaning on, AMD in the negative territory at $121. But I still think the stock is a great future. In 2 years, I think we easily see $200 easily.
Yeah, I was just looking at Nick's, take a look at Qualcomm. And someone earlier was saying that there was something on CNBC about Qualcomm. Yeah, Qualcomm decided to run $4. I got out. So we walk away with a $4 winner instead of what could have been like a massive winner, much bigger than that. So we are out of Qualcomm as it takes out that 183. Unfortunate, because it was just cruising below 180, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom. Within 10 minutes, here we are back up to 183. And futures, I mean, they're not even running. So obviously this is based entirely on whatever happened from CNBC or whatever was said. Not sure what was said, but at the end of the day, it also doesn't matter because it technically breaks the trade down. Right? For me, 183 was the play, or 180 was the kind of area that I was looking for some resistance, and then we kind of blow it up. And at that point, even if this was based, just say, on one single comment or whatever, now technically I can't structure another trade. This is the 5-minute chart. Let's take a quick look at the daily. It bounced off the 180, bounced below into that gap and back above. Okay, so now I can't trust that 180. And what does the 15 look like? Buy side support right off that 178. So that, it technically breaks everything down for me. So I'm gonna have to walk away. No re-entries, no figuring out another entry or setup or breakdown. I'm done for the day on Qualcomm, unless it takes out, with the exception, if it takes out the high of 194, that is not the day high, but it is the multi-day high. If we can take out 194, then I think I'll step back in. But for now, we're just going to walk away, take the cash. $4 is $4, right? $4 multiplied times the amount of shares you have, and that's a decent amount of profit. And we're just going to ride out this pins. And maybe the futures, going back towards 4,500. Maybe we'll get something there. But for the time being, I think the one big winner that was going is out of the way. So back to being a quiet market.
There's a question for you here, but I'm not even sure. Okay, I'll just read it out for you anyways. Can you take a look at Qualcomm and NVIDIA 3-year chart, and how is that not a bubble?
Qualcomm, let's pull it up. Qualcomm, this is 3 years, so I'll probably go weekly.
But how do you quantify a bubble in Qualcomm and NVIDIA? It's a tech stock. I'll let you continue.
Well, a lot of people, when they look at bubbles, they just think of a market that's gone up too fast, too hard, too fast, right? Qualcomm on the way up. This is a weekly chart, so this is going back to 2016, right? So if I were to do that, we're kind of going sideways until 80. So 80 is a pretty good, it seems like it's a respectable price that this market is in since 2014. So 2014 until about 2019, 80 seems to be the high, the low of 40. It's within the range. And then we get above 80, we mess around a little bit, we come down, we go back up, come down to 60, and then we get going all the way to 160. To go from 60 to 160 in that type of a run after consolidating for so long, I mean, that's kind of expected, I guess. Not expected, not that kind of not the speed of it, but the type of movement you're getting and the price return you're getting is the 2 to 1 from 80 to 160. I mean, like stocks that have multiplied much faster, right? This is only 2 times. And then we took a nice little sell move down, and then we took off again toward past the highs, and now towards 190 to 200. The way it's been moving, I don't think it's a bubble. The way it's moving in a way a stock should move, right? If we were to look at, say, Microsoft in the same time frame, I think Microsoft is a lot faster. If you're going to argue a bubble, argue Microsoft's a bubble, right? The way Qualcomm moved, it makes sense. The way Microsoft moves is just been straight up, right? But I mean, we know Microsoft. It's got solid fundamentals. It's the way it's moving is because of the company's value. That's a completely different game. But the chart, when you compare chart for chart, ignoring the actual stocks, if you're going to say one is a bubble versus another, a chart like Qualcomm isn't that bad because it's doing it in a lockstep fashion. It is just kind of going up, taking its breaks, and continuing its move. Versus Microsoft is just absolutely nuts. And then if you're going to do Microsoft, then you look at Tesla. Is Tesla a bubble? Because that is nuts, right? So there's different ways of approaching it, and
People
a lot
would
of the
say
times
Tesla's a bubble.
that's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to say one is a bubble, and then I gave you one which is on the low end, which is what people wanted to ask about Qualcomm, and then Microsoft, which has fundamental value and is a well-established company, and then you have Tesla going absolutely nuts from 2020, or in this case 2019, no, 2020. It was 2020. It was about March of 2020, since the beginning of the pandemic, going from, well, okay, there is a split here too. So
Yeah.
I can't say the actual, I can't do the math on this, but I'm going to ignore the
And
split.
it got added to the S&P rebalance.
But that's
And,
just a natural progression of a company that's got
Fair.
the value, right? So
Fair.
you got to put that aside. But chart for chart, this is moving at a much faster pace than anything else that we've seen so far. And then you could obviously add DWAC and all these other insane names that have just gone absolutely nuts in like a few days. But if you're going chart for chart, I think there are other charts out there that you can classify as bubbles versus a stock like Qualcomm, which has gone up like this, right? It's a respectable way to move up,
yeah.
right? So that I don't think it's a bubble at all.
Yeah,
And it's a chip company.
Yeah, that's why I don't
chips
think it's a
chips
bubble.
are part of technology, and technology is always evolving.
It's everywhere.
As you move on with life, technology is a part of everything that you do. So a chip company is going to be fundamental to the evolution that you're going to go through. So I think it's perfectly fine. It fits the space. It makes sense. And you're seeing the chip space go up. And I think with Qualcomm, you can take a look at AMD, because a lot of people have also gone to AMD. And I mean, this is moving faster than Qualcomm is, right? So apples to apples, oranges to oranges, you can figure out which ones are moving faster than others. And then you can't even cross-play some of them, because AMD or Qualcomm versus Tesla, and then it becomes a whole different ballgame.
Indeed. So apparently, someone's putting in the chat that Facebook is getting shorted again one more time. Obviously, you know, it is the earnings report over there. We are once again on a downwards move.
239, I had that short. Oh.
239
Yeah, I
short.
walked away from it. No.
There's an order on 239 right now. Bigger than the 239? Look at the, 239 is getting taken out right now. Yeah, there you go. 239 got washed out. There's millions and millions of dollars just getting washed out every single bit over here. Neil was just mentioning there was a big order at 240, and
Hey, you got this.
you were front running it, and then you got out. Yeah, so he saw that and he punched out right away. So like, look, you can't even lean on size over here at the moment on this stock. It's absolute destruction coming in every single direction. Market's getting beat up right now a little bit too. Trying to struggle in front of 4,500 for the ES and for the Nasdaq. We're trying to see if we can also, not hold up, not go below it. Please don't, because I need my SoFi win to bank me some nice money here. I have so much size on SoFi. Probably the biggest size trade I've taken in a while now is on SoFi. So if I can get this to be a victory for me, that'd be great. Switch the camera. Oopsie daisies. Thank you, guys. I forgot about that. I thought I switched it over to me. But yeah, Facebook, the size on 240 got taken out. Now we're back to 239, which got taken out. And now, look, it's still going down. Is there size on 238 that's going to probably go shop also? Get shopped on that 238. I don't really see size right now, but most likely there should be some on the way down. What do you think of Roblox is down 8% thanks to Facebook? I think 100%, not 100%, but at least there is some validity in that statement that it is being pumped down because of Facebook, because of the whole metaverse and the idea of honestly, though, Facebook losing money is coming from losing revenue sources, and none of it is being priced in from the metaverse. Trust me, none of this down move from Facebook is because of the future. This is everything from the past that has happened. So if you liked Facebook in the past at 300, opposite of that,
They're down because of the guide.
they guided for the 10% of future. Fair. Okay, so Sean actually says the opposite of that. They guided lower, but I'm under the idea that the metaverse.
So it was their first monthly user drawdown.
First monthly user drawdown for the social media side. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to get into, which is like, I still believe the metaverse side is a lot of money to be made out of on Facebook. The drawdown that is coming over here is coming from the lack of people using Facebook. The people using Instagram numbers are probably dropping too, because all you see is advertisements being pushed into your face all day. So because of the social media aspect, I think Facebook deserves to see what it's seeing right now. But the metaverse aspect, the gaming aspect, the whole other umbrella that they're working so hard to build on, I think there's a big potential there for Facebook. So if you liked Facebook at 300, you should love Facebook at 238, right? So that's just my mentality. That being said, I'm not buying Facebook at these levels. I've never been a Facebook fan. Since the starting of Facebook's birth into social media, I've always been against Facebook. So I can't invest it just for social media, but for metaverse, I am for sure invested in the metaverse. That's why I bought the metaverse ETF. So when it does come back a little bit lower, let me go see what prices I'd be happy to buy some Facebook shares on the dailies. Let's go to the dailies. We're all the way down here. My God, I was thinking about scalping along at 280 yesterday in the after hours, but thank God I did not jump in front of that train, because that would have hurt me. So we broke this support level, this volume point of control too. We're way below the volume point of control right now, which is at 265. Basically, what that indicates is all the data that you're seeing on the chart. Let me just zoom in. Let me just go to one here. So from all the data you're seeing on the chart, most of the volume basically at that point transacted near 260s. But now, how old is this? From July 2019 till current date, most of the volume is at 182. We're at 200 bucks. I'm looking for support to come in at 220, or even at I don't think we go all the way back to 200. That'd be pretty insane. But if support can come in near $220, $230, maybe we can look for a spot to buy around there. So another $10 move, $20 move to the downside. Market's still holding up pretty well at the 4,500. Can't speak at the 4,500 level on ES. It did make another dip below 4,500, close to 4,495. Can I get my chart? It did make another dip, but it did not successfully have a follow through for that down move. So once again, back over 4,500, trying to see if we can range trade a little bit more. Obviously, 1 o'clock only 3 minutes away, so I'm looking for volume spikes across the market. Our SoFi is still working for us, 6 cents in the money. And number 2 stock on the day for me. Let's go SoFi. Can you keep on moving all the way up to where my original targets are near VWAP or so, $11.80, maybe even $12. If we get to $12 today on SoFi, I'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Facebook. Mookie saying that Facebook has to be a long here. I'm thinking kind of the same thing, but what I want to see is what happens if we take out the low. I think that'll be very telling on if anyone's left to sell this. Because if there's another run on stop south of 237 and then we come right back into 240, I think at that point, double bottom, lows getting taken out, stops getting taken out. At that point, to me, that selling is, for the time being, is done. You could take the shot, go put up $4. You can get that back. So I think that would be the trade that I would look for in terms of buying. But I think buying in front of the low is a dangerous game because you don't want to get washed out with the stops, right? So for me, I'm just going to wait it out, see if we can actually get a move through the lows, because the way it's been moving, I think, I don't want to say inevitable, but it does look like it wants to take a look at the lows. And lows aren't too far away. The low is what? 237.07, and we're at 238.85. So I want to see what happens below the lows, and if we don't get there, then stay away. But I mean, it does look a little weird, especially with the futures or NASDAQ now at 3%. Ooh, boy. Okay. S&P is at 1.72, looking at 44.95. Let's take a quick look at NASDAQ futures. What are you doing? You did take the 680 out, but oh yeah, you took out the 680 and the 650. Okay, that's going to be, what do we have on the 60 then? If I were to go to the 60-minute chart, what do we have? Brad, you can go get your lunch, man. There's like
I'm good.
chicken.
I'm good.
You're good? Yeah.
I'm good.
Oh yeah, we got space. We got decent amount of space here. So I guess now the zone that I would be looking at is that buy area that I want to participate in, which is that 14.5. So 14.5 going down to 14.3 is where I would look, and we've got a ton of space to go. So 3% might not be the end of it for the time being on NASDAQ. There might be, here's the other thing I would watch out for too. If we keep drifting like this into 230 without a rally, I'd watch out for potential rally covering or covering rallies. So everyone who's short may want to start getting out just to lock in some profit. Intraday shorts might start looking to get some out. If we do it in such a way where we're going down, rallying a little bit and then going down again, that's different. But if we were to just kind of trend down, that's a problem. That becomes a problem, because then when it gets to a point where everyone wants to get out, everyone's trying to get out at the same time, and then just rushing for the exit, pushing the market up faster than it really needs to go, because it's just covering, people covering and just rallying the market for an exit instead of an actual natural buy, right? So that can become a problem too. Usually happens somewhere in the final 90 minutes or so. So keep an eye on that. If we were to just continue trending down, it does look like this market wants to make another nice little move off this 44.95. Okay, we're back at 45.03. Market is not willing to let go of that 44.95. So for the time being, nothing being done. Don't have to worry about it. If we do get through that, remember, for another 15 points to the downside, 44.80 would be the level I'd look at for the next support point. So for now, and what did Qualcomm do? Qualcomm went all the way to right here. Qualcomm went all the way to 85 and starting to stall out. Yeah, okay. We're just going to move away from Qualcomm. Let's take a quick look at pins. Is there anything you got going on?
No, I just had a comment about Facebook, which was, what are the chances that Bill Ackman is going to start buying crazy amounts of Facebook? Because the last time Netflix came out with their earnings, what am I saying? But this quarter, when Netflix earnings came out recently and Netflix dropped like a rock, I was like, okay, this drop is just being a little too over exaggerated. Everyone loves Netflix. We're gonna go right back up. And then a couple of days later, Bill Ackman comes out saying the exact same thing and buying a ton of shares, actually putting his money where his mouth is, not unlike me. So Bill Ackman put his money where his mouth is and pushed up Netflix back up to somewhat of a decent territory. So I'm expecting something like that to happen on Facebook too. Maybe not Bill Ackman, maybe someone who likes Zuckerberg, or just Facebook as general. So I'll be watching the news wires for that to hit. Maybe even the Kathy Wire Hail Mary being thrown over to Facebook over here too. Who knows? Any possibility over there of a big money a whale coming in and pushing their buying chips on Facebook will be my indication to add some to my portfolio. And as a day trader, the next day of that news is gonna rip, because if you saw what Netflix did off that news article, it just went insane. I think it had a 10% day on that article. So waiting for Facebook to get bought up by some big money over there. Check out Hood. Yeah, we can for sure check out Robinhood. We haven't talked about it in a while. Robinhood actually having somewhat of a decent comeback now. Obviously we did get below $10. Now we're back to 14.50, almost 14.63 being the high a day. Actually positive on the day while the market's down 3% on the Nasdaq. Your ES is down 1.5%, 1.68 to be exact. So Robinhood up 3% with 14 million shares traded, and the high day at 14.63. Let me go on the dailies to see if we can find. Ooh, I almost typed DraftKings. Robinhood on the daily. We are already on the dailies, and looks like we're pretty much at resistance at 1486 or so. Let me just throw a line up to see if it is 1486, 1485, 1486, same thing. So let's see if we get another 20-cent move up to 1480 on Robinhood, or are we just going to keep using the 1460, 1450 barrier as the high of the day, and then not have any more any more push north, because the market wants to keep on testing that 44.95 on the ES. And for Nasdaq, what did you say the support was? 14,640.
14.5 to 14.3 would where
14.
the support zone would be.
Awesome.
But Prad, when you were pulling up your chart, and I think this could be helpful for people that are watching. So a lot of the charts that I'm using are paid charts, right?
Yeah.
So like eSignal is quite expensive, so that might not always be accessible for people, right? So I have eSignal and I have like other systems that are paid, but you don't have eSignal. So what do you use for charting? If you don't have obviously you have our internal charts, which is P-Pro 8 from Daytrade the World, internally built for use only in this company. It's not sold anywhere else. But what do you use for your charting? Because you're not using just that.
No, obviously you're 100% right. It's not just that. So my charting software is this right here, TradingView. I actually do pay for it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do pay for it, but there is a free version that you can use, and it's a great free version too. The only problem the free one is let me show you the data differential compared to the live one. So this is Nightbot. I turned on Nightbot XS emotes, right? So basically, I hit enable again before I start spamming you guys. It basically stops you from using more than 8 emotes at once, because people are spamming emotes, and apparently Nightbot went crazy. I'm not sure why Nightbot went crazy. Let me see. 64 timeouts, Nightbot. What's wrong with you?
Oh, you know what? That might be my fault. Yesterday someone was asking, can you use rockets on in the chat? You remember that?
Yeah.
And we said, yeah, why can't you? And then I think people may have gotten carried away with the amount of rockets.
But we see that all the time. But that was limited to only like eight emotes. If anyone did more than 8 emotes, you get banned. I'm sure 64 people weren't spamming that.
No?
Like it timed out 64 people. Look at this. Nightbot drunk on power. This guy got banned for Nightbot drunk on power.
Well, unfortunately, Nightbot
Look
makes
at
the
this
calls,
guy.
not us.
Yeah, Nightbot just went crazy. So guys, I apologize for that. Where can I short Nightbot? What is going on? Nightbot just went crazy. Guys, I apologize. I turned that setting right away as soon as I got the messages from people. But anyways, the topic that was about what charts we use and so on. Trading. I can't type TradingView. If you go to TradingView, go to chart. Hopefully I'm not logged in over here. I am logged in. Wait, maybe we go to AMD or something that has CBOE data, not NYSE and NQ data. For some reason, this is showing me NYSE and NQ data, maybe because we're not logged in. But if you are logged in, it's going to show you CBOE data, which is most of the time not accurate. You see half candles, you see half information, and using that information to trade out of is not going to be the most beneficial for anybody. So obviously, if you are using Robinhood, or not Robin, if you are using TradingView, I would suggest at least pay for the basic information, which is the NASDAQ, NYSE, and the ARCA. I think it costs $3 in total, and it's the best thing there is out there for at least the cheapest way to go.
$3?
I think for the data, it's $3 a month.
And how much is it for the actual software?
For the actual software, that's where the money comes in.
That's TradingView?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the actual data is where the money comes in. It's like $50 a month or $100 a month, whatever your package is.
Exchange data, but everyone charges exchange data.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's Robin, sorry, not Robin. I keep saying Robin. That's TradingView for me on the paid data side.
Hey, someone's asking, hey, Prad, is there a Trader TV email where I can send your pick?
Yeah, you can do Pradamesh at TraderTV.Live.
Or just, what about your socials? Just do it through the socials.
I don't think, I'm guessing they don't have socials if they're asking me that. But if you can check out, if you do exclamation Prad or Nightbot, just put it in the chat, which is your what's it called? Your the Twitter and your Instagram. So if you do exclamation mark Prad, you get both of those where you can slide in the DMs, or you can use my email, which I know people are most likely gonna sign me up for some bunch of crap already. So
that's your mistake. I was gonna say something that I'm like, nah.
It's a work email. You always have your work email on your business cards, and people know your work email from like LinkedIn. So it's like the most accessible one. I don't want anyone to get my actual email.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't put my work email either.
Yeah, it's my work email. Peter can go through and scan all this garbage that goes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Prad is going to be spammed on his work email. Oh yeah, I already know. It's okay. That's why Google filters help. Google filters are. I love Google.
All right.
All right. You have anything you're looking at, boss
I'm
man?
Just looking at the chat. People calling Nightbot a dictator. He or she is definitely taking over. While Prad's out doing his whatever, and Nightbot's over there taking people, booting people, banning people. Nightbot's on something right now. And what else we got? Or just people just talking. I think a lot of people are just kind of trying to do what we're doing, which is just pass time until this market starts moving again. Right? We're stuck at 4,500. Pins is starting to go to the downside now. At least now it's 18 cents in the money, and Facebook. Let's take a quick look at Facebook. Facebook underneath 240, still waiting above the lows. So not a whole lot going on, unfortunately. For anyone who's watching, staying up late to watch this. So I know not everyone's from North America. Some of you guys are close to midnight and overseas. And if you're still here with us, thank you. We've got 1.1K likes. If you want to just go to bed, and because this market's dead, hey, just hit the like, take off. But
no, don't take off.
No, but I want to say something. No, you can lurk, I guess. But what I was going to say is that right now it's quiet. This is dead time right now. But with the market down 3% and the S&P at 1.72 down to the downside, this close should bring some excitement.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are going to make some adjustments, especially with Facebook being down a quarter of its value. That's a problem, and there may be some adjustments that are gonna be made towards the end of the day, and I think that's what you got to be prepared for. So it may be a calm before the storm situation. So don't lose the fact that the day's not done. That should still bring some excitement. So here we are waiting for that to happen. Maybe we get an acceleration. Here we go. Market's 44.95 now on the future side of things. For anyone who hasn't, I haven't actually done this yet. For anyone who hasn't seen what the level 2 looks like on the futures, it looks like that. Much different from stocks, right? The reason being, on stocks you have a bunch of different gateways, a bunch of different markets you can go get your shares from. So ARCA, EDGE, EDGX, NASDAQ, New York, wherever, right? They're all priced. They will all be priced at the level 1, and you can go get it from whichever venue. But on the futures, there's no other venue. There's only one venue. You go through CME. That's it. So that's why there's no other colors. There's no depth. You only see the number because everyone has to go through the same venue to get the contracts, right? So it's a little bit different. So this is what the level 2 looks like on the S&P futures. And if you want to see the NASDAQ futures real quick, it looks like. Oh yeah, I forgot to put the. There we go. This is what it looks like. So you can see the size difference, right? There's like much less size because of volatility. It's trading at 14,650 times 20 in terms of leverage, and then S&P's at times 50 in terms of leverage. So this is more expensive. So it's just one of those things where you just got to be aware that the higher the price, the more volatility you're going to get. And the right now does look like futures bouncing off that 95 one more time. So here we are still waiting.
Another
hey, pins
one.
is down 24 cents though. What?
Another bounce.
Another bounce. Another one.
Pins is down 25%. Is that what you said?
No, pins is down 25 cents.
25
Cents for me. I'm in the money 25 cents.
Nice.
So yeah, sometimes I get I may confuse people because I point out something and I say the complete opposite. Or I like to, with Tesla I said 1,500 when I meant 1,000, and with pins it's down 24 cents for me, or it's in the money 24 cents, but pins is actually down, or is it down? Pins is actually down $2.67 overall, but 24 cents in the money for me. To clarify everything. Oh, Nick again. Nick doesn't leave you alone. He just makes sure you're on
now?
top of it. No. He's just putting his setup there. He's got TradingView for charts, DS Trader, and interactive brokers for execution. I imagine you meant Trade Ideas or TC200. I actually don't know what TC200 is, but Trade Ideas.
It's like another charting software.
It's probably like a screener, just like Trade Ideas is.
Probably, you're probably right. Yeah.
Until DTW comes to America.
That's not happening.
Yeah, there's some legal stuff with that. So
Yeah.
This is probably not going to happen, but it's going to be, for now, we're going to keep it global. We have a bunch of offices. Day Trade the World has I should know
where
this.
are the most offices from?
China.
China? Wow, that's crazy. I thought it would be like Canada or like some maybe somewhere India or something. No.
No, India may have a couple offices. But think about it. The issue is that to open up an office, it's like you're like doing your own trading floor, right? So when you do your own trading floor, there's a cost to entry, and everything is done in U.S. dollars. So the exchange rate is going to be against you if you're trying to convert from a currency that's obviously going to be a lot more expensive for you, right? So some countries, it's hard to open up a floor because of just how much it costs relative to what you could potentially have in savings or whatever.
But that's if you're trading the U.S. markets. You could open like a Chinese office and trade Chinese stocks in the Chinese yen, right?
Limited markets.
Limited?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, there's rules against trading certain markets, right?
Okay.
So like we have limited access to Hong Kong, Japan. We have Japan as well. We have a bunch of markets, but then there are also like overseas markets are somewhat limited because of the rules surrounding them. So, I mean, we have a bunch of offices in China for sure. And globally, we have a decent amount. We have a few in China.
And these guys are up all night trading, basically.
I mean, think about it. If that's your market, you're overseas and you want to trade the U.S. markets. Unfortunately for you, that's what you got to do. One time, and this is like one of those stories that I've got for you guys. One time, I was in New Zealand. I was on vacation. I thought I could do it. Be like, oh, let's just go and explore during the day and trade at night because of the time difference. It's not doable. You essentially have to create a life around staying up through the night to just trade.
Yeah.
Because then during the day you want to do absolutely nothing and just sleep. So it is you have to commit hard if you're in a different time zone. For us here, it's like, work hours and then do something, right? You don't have that kind of freedom, I think, if you're doing those kind of hours.
I bet. Just throwing out some orders over here. Why did that just change? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I just changed my stop order to complete 0 size, and now I have to remake every order. Anyways, we'll deal with that after because the stock's already in the money for me.
Can we change the hair color from blonde to parrot green?
No, we're not doing all that.
We're not going to do that to Prad. I think everyone, think about how it sounds too. Platinum Prad sounds so much better than parrot green Prad.
Parrot Prad?
Not even that. You got to go parrot green Prad.
Yeah, PGP.
PPP.
Parrot green Prad.
Oh, PGP. Yeah. I don't know why I said PPP.
Yeah.
So it is PGP. So I think Platinum Prad just rolls off the tongue a little bit better. It's smoother. It's got more flow. And I think Prad can live that up a little bit better for his sake.
Blonde will look way better going home than green for sure. Like if I come home green, there's for sure not entering through the doorstep. But if I come home blonde, I can still like try to work my way through entering the door. Sleep in the office for this few days, says Neil. I'm dead. Pair of pink Prad. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. We're not going with that colorway for sure.
I think it's got to be decided. We've gone, but now here's the thing though, and if Valeriia is willing to jump on board and be okay with it, now you guys can suggest that to Valeriia.
She already has a green wig.
No, I mean like actually dye her hair,
Okay.
because she dyes her hair like crazy
Yeah.
at times, right? So if you guys want to do a light count with her and do something like we did 3K with Prad, maybe like 4K with Valeriia, and she goes green or something when she gets back. That's between you guys and her when she does get back, but she's gone pink, yeah. So maybe green's doable for her. Maybe she's okay. Maybe she wants to go green, and it's just about time that someone got her to do it. So maybe it's up to you guys to do that when she does get back. But I think with Prad, I think blonde is kind of settled. It's the best balance of style and the fact that he can still make it inside the house without getting hit with a slipper or being thrown out or something like that.
Don't get it twisted. The slipper's still coming at me.
Oh, slipper.
Oh,
so for anyone who doesn't know about brown parents, they love wooden spoons.
Yes.
They love belts.
Belts.
And they love rubber slippers. So yeah, the brown parents for you guys.
All right, got him back into the market. Let's see what's moving. Absolutely nothing. What else is it going to be doing over here? Obviously, I'm going to show you ES first, doing the same thing once again. Third time it tried to go break 44.95, did not manage to, and once again we're trying to make a green takeover at 4,500. My chart kind of got messed up, so we'll leave that here. And NASDAQ over here, look at the consolidation at these lows, down 3% on the day today. So we'll look to see if later on in the day we're going to extend that downwards move on the NASDAQ. Someone in chat mentioned that MP had a short report. I guess it makes sense, obviously, because the stock is down 14% today. At one point, it was down more than that, but now we're making a retracement back to VWAP in a strong way. Look at the volume increasing. Obviously, it's past 1 o'clock, so lunch hour is done. People are coming back into their seats, looking for positions to go long in, looking for markets to go long in. QQQ had a nice little small uptick right now. So did the ES on the 3-minute. What I'm looking at. So if those upticks can help me out on my SoFi position, that'd be great. We'll also quickly circle back to once again AMC. Has AMC taken out that low? It did, but it didn't go too far down on the too far to the downside. So 1490 was the previous low, kinda, and now 1471 is the new low, back above, slightly off that lows to test the previous low a day today. See if we can actually break above it. But look at this big volume candle. If we didn't manage to get above 16 on that volume candle for AMC, which was around 10 o'clock or so, then there's no shot that I'm going to expect it to get back above VWAP and actually go to $16 today, unless the market decides to do some crazy reversal out of nowhere. We've seen it happen before. The market went from negative 3% to flat. I think actually ended 1% in the positive sometime in January. So we've seen that happen before. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the possibility of that chance is very slim to none. So AMC, GME still struggling. Is GME back under 100? Wow, this stock is still not under 100 while AMC is trying to struggle over here. So good job, Jimmy, I guess. Good job to GME.
All right.
Had to leave the chat to watch the SpaceX launch.
Oh, there
Sorry.
you go. No.
SpaceX launch. Yeah, I wish you told me before doing that. That way I could have stuck Arun with this and I could have gone and watched the SpaceX launch. I love watching rockets take off.
All right.
Are you into SpaceX?
As a company, like watching them
watching the rockets take off, watching them land, and love them as Elon's company. Just be a fangirl for Elon.
Yeah,
no,
I don't do that.
Would you buy Starlink?
I think Starlink is such a cool idea, though.
Yes.
I think the idea itself, like I don't get caught up with who like the
cool tech.
Not the cool tech, but like the person behind it all.
Okay.
But I do like the idea of technology like that, because I think that brings access to so many people that
Exactly.
would need access. And it's such a big thing. So futures, nice little bounce here on the futures. Off that 95 again. Oh my God. This is like what Frank was saying. Frank was like, oh, well, he's making decent change just kind of going back and forth on the SQQ using the Qs, because futures have been just bouncing up and down, right? That's a delicate trade, though, because you got to be well versed in range trading to kind of make that kind of a move, because it's a very tight range and it's easy to slip up and just kind of give it all up if the market were to just fall off or go break the range. But good job on that, Frank, if you're catching it inside the range and just kind of going ping, ping, ping right off the top and the bottom. So that's a very hard trade to do. I've tried that before. It's not the best for me. So one of those things where it's just, you pick what you're good at and you just kind of stick with it. Obviously, you're trying to adapt as you go in and kind of elevate what you're doing, but at the same time, know what your strengths are, right? Going back to Starlink, though, I think that's such a cool idea that gives so much access to so many people. I think that I just read the other day, I think I read that their premium tier is like $500 a month or something. I'm curious.
The newest one.
Yeah, I'm
the
curious.
newest
Do you know what the speed on that is?
No clue, but it's for businesses. It's the
So it's gotta
business
be
package.
Like, it's got to be like a five, not a five. It can't be five.
Nah,
right?
for sure more than like 10 gigs. For sure. Like we already have 1 gig data at like normal Brampton houses, so I don't have 1 gig data in my house because they're like, oh, it's a new area, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, it's an old area. We can't build infrastructure in old areas. But here we are in Toronto downtown, which is one of the oldest infrastructure, and they're putting this fiber optics pipelines in downtown Toronto, but they want to make an excuse. And I'm looking at you, Rogers. I hate you, Rogers, for this reason, because you don't want to give me fiber optics. I might just move to Bell because of this, okay?
You do realize, like their entire business model is based on cable.
Yeah, I might just move to Bell because of this, because they're screwing me over by not giving me fiber optics,
You're
dude.
complaining to a company that is that bases its internet technology on cable.
Tell my dad that, okay? Tell my dad that's not me. I've been wanting to leave Rogers forever.
Oh my
I've been
God.
wanting to leave Rogers forever, and my dad
Why
just
don't
does
you?
not
I
want
have
to
Bell,
listen.
actually. I do have Bell.
My dad doesn't listen, bro. He loves Rogers. Listen, I even made him go to a phone bill, which is $50 a month for everything unlimited. He's a guy who stays at home, doesn't leave too much. You don't need data, right? He'd rather go pay Rogers $90 a month for 1 gig.
Oh, there's so much more choices. There's so many more choices.
But he'd rather go to Rogers.
But I think within Rogers, they have different deals. That's way too high.
But I'm just like, dude, just burn this company. Just forget this company. I'm so tired with this. Anyways,
tired.
that's a Rogers rant. Arun, there's a question for you here that we actually missed from Eric Salazar. I don't know if you saw this before.
Probably not.
25 minutes ago. Can you
Definitely
give
not.
me your thoughts about Amazon earnings tonight, especially after the decline in the past few days?
All right, let's take a quick look. When it comes to earnings, you always treat it as, let's play both sides of it, right? You don't know. I mean, you can make assumptions and you can figure out how you think, or you can assume how things are going to come out, but the market's going to react the way the market's going to react. All we can do is mark some levels off, right? This is a daily. Obviously, with the market sitting at 28.22, I think breaking 2,700 is going to be a problem. That's a brand new low for the last year and change, 13 months. 2,700 is going to be the bottom end. That's going to be a problem. Obviously, to the upside, there's going to be resistance once you get into 3,200. So that could be your upper band, just north of 3,200. I would say 3,250. Well, actually, the more I look at this, it might be this, 3,350. So if we box it in, if Amazon were to break 2,700, you're going to have a big move to the downside because there's nothing stopping it. If it were to go to the upside, there could be pockets of resistance from 3,200 all the way to 3,350, which could act as resistance. So that's going to be a problem in the event that we kind of gap up. It could get faded in the morning if we get some selling in that area, right? So wait for confirmation. If you get that confirmation, you go for the short because you know that we're in a sell zone. Now, if we were to go wider, and it looks like we're going to have to go wider because Amazon, given the way it's trading since, July, it's the same range. Actually, there's nothing else. This is it. 2,700 or the break of 2,700 down towards, 2,200 maybe? Not as big as support. So I think 2,700 is the bottom end. You have a lot of downside space. And if you run to the upside, you're going to have resistance from 32 up all the way up to 3,350. And at that point, that's all you do. Set the levels out. And when the report comes out, you'll know how the market wants to react when it either goes up or to the downside. I know if it were to go up, it could get faded because of the resistance levels. If it were to go down, I'm going to be like, you know what? There's nothing stopping it, right? Breaking 2,700, which is $115 away. If it breaks that, like, what's going to stop this market from going to like 23, or this stock from going to 23? So that's the way I would look at it. I think the path of least resistance is to the downside. If the report comes in such a way where it makes sense for the stock to go down, you're going to see that kind of happen tomorrow. I think with the jobs report coming out tomorrow as well, with Amazon reporting, it's going to be a nice end to the week, because we started off this month. For last day of last month and the first day of this month have been stellar, and now we've gone somewhat quiet. So if we're going to finish off the week with some fireworks, that'd be nice. Actually, I'd appreciate that, because it's been sleepy trading on the future side of things. So still waiting, a nice little move on Amazon. Remember, Amazon's also in the top list of weights in these indexes, so they will also have influence in how these markets do with some decent weighting, right? So if you thought Facebook was able to pull the market, Amazon definitely will as well. And I think that'll be really a good way to finish off the week after a few days of being quiet.
Awesome. Real quick, talking about earnings over there, I just want to take a look at what earnings do we have today. So obviously Amazon at 4 p.m., Snapchat at 4:10, Pinterest at 4 p.m., Ford at 4:05. We haven't talked about Ford all day, so maybe we can take a look. Activision also having its earnings at 4:05. Okay, maybe I got to start trading Activision. It's actually, I haven't traded that stock all day today. It's my number one stock every day for the last a week or two, and I haven't touched it all day today. It explains why I haven't traded all day today. It's stuck in the 10 cent range. Usually it at least gives me a 40-50 cent range that I've been scalping it. So we'll see what this 405 comes out. Unity, another gaming side over there, 405. What else is big? Fortnite. That's not Fortnite. Never mind. Skechers. Obviously, I don't wear Skechers shoes. Nothing against it. I just don't have any. Is there anything else that's big? Dolby, maybe. GoPro. That's for sure gonna influence Disney in some way, because GoPro is a Disney company.
Is it?
Yeah.
GoPro?
Yeah.
They bought it?
Yeah.
Okay.
A long time ago. Well, the Disney's venture capital arm owns GoPro.
Ah.
Yeah. So we'll see where that one goes down to. So yeah, Amazon, Snapchat, Ford, Activision, Unity gotta be your biggest ones in that basket that you're looking at. So we'll quickly go take a look at Ford, because we haven't talked about it all day. Where's Ford at? Ford currently down 2.5%, obviously, but we're above $20, which is good. I think yesterday we were at 19 or so. No, we're still at 20, kind of at 19 here. What day was this? This was on the 31st of January. So overall, as I mentioned, the first time we broke out of the 52-week high thanks to the EV sector news, and we got into the $19 to $20 range on Ford. I said this could very well become the new $11, $12 range on Ford. And then we break out to $25, $26, $27 almost. And that's when the downgrades start coming in on Ford, and then people start pushing the stock back down. I still believe that we could go right back to $25 range, even with those downgrades, because Ford is really ramping up what they want to do with the EV sector. The latest article was, I think they put another $20 billion or $2 billion. I keep forgetting if there's a zero in that and right after that two or not. But all I know is they're putting billions of dollars into the EV sector, dumping it right back into the research and development and to creating better batteries, better blah 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 blah, to fight the biggest company out there for EV, which is Tesla. So if they can take over Tesla, then you can forget Rivian. Rivian's not gonna be in the picture if they take over Tesla. And by they, I'm talking about Ford.
Doesn't Rivian need a new battery supplier too?
That's exactly the concept behind it. I think Rivian has issues with the Samsung partnership. They ended their deal, or Ford ended their deal with Rivian, and now the only one we know who's in cahoots with them is Amazon. And even Amazon is like sending complaint emails about how all of their trucks are garbage and their distance in their trucks are not exactly what they said it would be. So like, it's if all their partners are gonna fall apart, who's really gonna save Rivian?
That will be remain. Well, that will be.
Well, time will tell.
Time will tell. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to answer a few questions here. Question one, noob here. How can I use margin to trade effectively? Be very, very careful. If you're new and you're margining your account, it could get very expensive accidentally, and you don't want that. So it's better off that you don't. Like someone else, I think, mentioned this. Don't margin. At the beginning, it's very hard to get things right, so your odds are you're going to lose. But if you try to leverage it and then you lose more, last thing you want to do is start owing money. So if you have whatever X amount of dollars and you're willing to lose X amount of dollars, be okay with that. But do you want to lose X amount of dollars plus O on top of that? No. So be very, very careful if you're just starting out with margin, because it's easy to go down that road because you're like, oh, I can multiply my money so fast. But then you're in over your head on how to use it. And you need to know the risk associated with using it. So it's better off, given that a lot of people at the beginning lose money, unless you get very, very lucky often. It's easy to lose money at the beginning. Then it's probably better off that you just lose whatever you have that you're willing to put up versus losing and then owing on top of that, because that could be a life-altering kind of a situation. You don't want to go through that so early on, right? If you go through that so early on, you may never come back to it. So I would just be very, very careful on going down that road. Know what you're getting yourself into if you do decide to go down that road, because like I said, it can get very expensive and it could be an accidental thing too, right? So it's just like leaving open shorts for a lot of people. If you're short and then all of a sudden the stock gaps up like 3 times against the price that you were short at, remember, unlimited upside is what stocks are all about. And if you're short, that means you are playing a game where there's a limited downside versus an unlimited upside in terms of price. And that means your exposure is going to be unlimited as well. And that's a problem. So be very, very careful on how you use margin. Bradley, should traders look to find profitable strategies, or should they stick to one stock ETF to find their setups? I would say find 1 or 2 strategies and try to apply that to some of the big names in the market. Because at the beginning, it's easy to try to do one strategy, one stock, but like you see me doing it here, I have 3 approaches for the futures and I haven't taken one trade in 4 days. It can get very, very boring, and then all of a sudden your traders are disengaged because they can't find the trade they're looking for. So by looking at one specific name. So what I would say is focus on building maybe 1 or 2 approaches and allowing them to trade like some of the top 50 S&P names or something like that, right? So that are below a certain price, and that makes sense as a risk manager. But at least that way they're not bored, they're not disengaged. That allows them to actually look for something and try to fine tune what they're looking for versus just waiting and waiting and waiting. And the reason I'm okay with waiting and waiting is because I know exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm okay with that. At the beginning, not everyone's okay with that. So you just do have to be smart about how you kind of put the guys in what lane you put them in, because last thing you want is to have them disengage from the strategy that they're trying to build because they're getting bored of the market, and then all of a sudden they're going to try to look for things that are not even there. All of a sudden they find trades that aren't even setting up because they're bored. So they're like, oh, let me just take this trade because it's close enough to what I'm looking for, so let me just do that. And then that's just a complete different issue to deal with in itself, right? Once they learn something, it's very hard to untrain them from it. So it's better off that you just train them from the beginning the proper way and let them kind of build it out and make the mistakes, correct them, and let them make the mistakes, correct them. It's better to go down that road than it is to let them make their mistakes and keep letting them doing it. And then it's a completely different issue to untrain them. So, yeah. What else we got? Apple just decided to rip people's face off. Apple's, is it?
It's just going back to higher day.
I mean, let's take a quick look. A little rally. I think this is what confuses me a lot of times. People use very exciting language.
Yeah.
And I'm just like looking over, I'm just like, that's just moving up, right?
I find it's very experience based, the terminology what people use, because sometimes I'm like, oh, it's ripping, and then you guys are like, it's not. I'm like, huh, okay, and then eventually what does happen is that rip gets faded and this comes right back to where it was. So I was like, huh, okay, I'm learning. So I do find a lot of it is just experience, and it's also what's that word? It's like relative. It's like you might think it's popping because you probably have a ton of size in there and you saw your relative net go up. But for us, we just see, like, we're used to seeing these moves, or you are used to seeing an even bigger move usually. So for you, it's not like a thing. But at the end of the day, you are right. It's not ripping your face off. It's just trickling its way towards the high of day.
I think it's also like you just said. Actually, it's like how much are you desensitized?
Yeah.
Right. If you're brand new looking at the markets, 1-2 pennies, and then all of a sudden 5-10 pennies is, oh my God, it's like so much faster.
Yeah.
Right. I'm quite desensitized to movement, so it's going to take a lot to be like, oh yeah, that's ripping hard and fast, right? That kind of situation. So yeah, you're right. It is with absolute experience. I think it's based on, like, you kind of desensitize yourself to the moves, and you realize when something is like abnormal, the more experience you have. And you're absolutely right. I didn't think about that part just because I'm like, I just don't get the language at times. But then you're absolutely right. The more experience you have.
I had to think of it in that way to justify myself. So I hope that was right. So thank you for saying it was. Ripping is greater than 10% per minute. I mean, sure, I guess so. Facebook pushed into lows. Looks like Apple's actually coming to the downside one more time here. Let me show you my chart. Oh, that's not my chart. That's Arun's chart. Back to my face. So NASDAQ once again back in that same range that we were stuck in for quite a bit now. And ES once again getting back into the same, to test 4,500, test 44.95. Maybe on this down move over here, we actually take it out because obviously lunchtime has ended. We're getting closer to going into the closing show. Only 22 minutes left going into the closing show here. So maybe now that the volume is going to pick up and we're going to take out the low a day. If that happens, obviously, we only have 50% left on our SoFi over here. We've been taking some exits on the way up also. And I might have to throw my stop out for the other 50%. We'll see what happens because the size on SoFi that we were leaning on at 1150 actually decreased, even though we never went to 1150 to go test it. The size got decreased a little bit, so I'm not sure if I want to lean on it as much as I have been. Maybe scalp out some more size over here because market's obviously trying to go down one more time over here. Oh, Activision, wow, Activision actually took out that low that I was playing long in for so long. If you look at these, so long, what am I just played long yesterday on Activision. For forever I was playing short on it. So here you go, I was leaning on that 79 level, going long on it. Even yesterday I got some nice 79 longs off of it, and today I did not like the way that VWAP is at 79.20. We got a pop off the open and never really got a pop. So here we go, another down move. People are still worried that the deal is not going to go through. I don't know why I said people. I guess I'm still worried that the deal is not going to go through. In that case, I got to stop worrying about leaning on the long side. Just go short, hammer the short, because if the FTC is handling this deal and they're not going to let it go through, then that's a big problem for EA Sports. That's a big problem for Zynga. That's a big problem for Activision, whose earnings report is actually today at 4:05 p.m. So Activision's on watch. Roblox is also on watch. Granted, they don't have earnings, but Roblox is for sure going to be on watch for earnings, or not earnings, for a sympathy play off of Activision earnings. The same way EA should be on watch after 4 o'clock. And I'm only saying this because AMD, when AMD's earnings came out, Nvidia, Qualcomm, TSM, they all moved up together as a sympathy play. So that's the idea behind that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat. I'm just following this thread. I'm trying to kind of link it between Douglas and Alex and fake account. Why do they say reaping? Who says reaping?
Miss V.
She says reaping? Okay, that's just a language thing.
Yeah.
It's in terms of actual stock market lingo, a lot of what you're going to hear is long short, meaning someone bought, someone is shorting, meaning trying to play the downside move and make money. You're going to say ripping if the stock or market is going up very, very quickly, And then crashing, I think, is pretty obvious. Is falling apart. What else do you hear, Prad? What other language?
There's so many
There's
words.
a lot, but
There's
what do you hear a lot, though?
The main ripping, falling, and long short, pretty much the basic ones.
Right? That's pretty much, that's it.
They sum it up, and then people just get fancy. Dead cat bounce. This.
Okay, well,
that.
dead cat bounces, you hear that too. But dead cat bounce is actually, it's said a lot, especially on TV too. It's when the market has fallen a lot, and then the volume on the bounce back up is very low. So it's just like it's got no juice to the bounce.
And how much does it need to retrace for that to be like a half of that candle, or half of that fall?
The dead cat bounce aspect isn't about how far it bounces.
Okay.
It's about the fact the volume isn't there on the bounce.
Okay.
That's what it is.
So what causes it to bounce then if there is no volume to make it bounce?
What causes it to bounce? It could be just small buying or
This
short covering.
feels like the Ali A question. You know what I'm talking about? Ali G question.
No.
He's like Ali G's in the room with Kobe Bryant. He's asking him why doesn't the ball bounce? And Kobe Bryant goes, because there's air in it. And then he goes, there's air in this room. Why isn't this room bouncing?
Oh my gosh.
Ali G, he's a classic character. I love Ali G.
But yeah, what was the question you asked?
I
forgot the question
at this point. Forget it. But yeah. What it was the chat? It was talk about ripping and
here we
long
go.
and
Okay.
short. So
okay,
yeah,
there's a bunch now. People want extended. Market's gone a lot further than would be expected. So it's gone too far. So they're looking for tanking. There you go. Not crashing. Is ripping or tanking?
Tanking.
Tanking is the falling portion
Fair.
of it's falling down very quickly. Bleeding is just it's just like you're bleeding out. Like, oh my God, it's still falling, but it's going at a much more even pace. What else we got? We got bloodbath. Yeah, well, that's when everything's red, and that's not good. Fade. Fade is when. We do use fade. Is when the market is going up and is going into something like resistance. And actually, I ran a fade this morning on Qualcomm. I think was it Qualcomm? Yes, Qualcomm. So Qualcomm. Actually, I should use R charts. So this chart sucks. But I was short at 187. So the fade here is because I've identified resistance and I want to play on the short side. So I want to sell against the strength here. So when it's moving up into that resistance, I'm going against the trend. So against the buy side trend, and I'm fading this move, or I'm trying to go counter trend against this current move. In this case, it was rallying, or overnight, it was moving up from 182, and I was fading it into that 187 with a stop at 194. So that's my move. The fade is just usually when you're going short into a move that's going up, and you're looking for the downside move as soon as that up move is done. So that's fade. What else we got? No juice to the squeeze. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Puking explanatory. Getting clapped. I think that's pretty explanatory for everyone who knows what that means. Getting clapped. When you when the market's getting clapped. Yep. Gift horse. I don't know. I think only Neil knows what gift horse is. The way he interprets it anyway. So we'll leave that to Neil. You can ask him that on the next show.
Why don't you talk about like what you consider maybe like a tank or a rip? Like if the market's tanking, is that 1%?
Yeah. Okay. What's a rip? Okay, here we go. I know what's a rip. This is a rip.
Beyblade, let it rip.
That's not a rip. Qualcomm is a rip. That's a rip from 179, like a straight move up very quickly. We were up strong. This is a rip when it just goes green for a few minutes and just
So it's
won't
like
stop.
the velocity.
The velocity of a move.
Okay.
Right? It's just going up very fast, unusually fast, because this is also a rip right off the open.
Oh yeah.
Look at the speed of that from 181 all the way to 190. Right? We for within 8 minutes, we went $10, and that's abnormal for this stock. Well, obviously that's that's falling apart, but the stock, this is how it trades, and all of a sudden it's doing this. Yeah, that's a rip when it goes that fast, and then that's another one right at the end there, and then a tank. Hey, look at that tank. That's a tank right there. Look at that. Within 3 minutes, we went from 192 all the way down to 185. That's a tank right there. So when it's moving abnormally fast relative to the range that it normally does, and it's going super fast, right? So I think someone was asking Apple's ripping, or somebody was saying Apple's ripping. Well, Apple doesn't move like that, right? Like this is not a rib. Look at this is just a buy point. It's not going crazy fast. Same thing here. It's just kind of moving up. It's not going crazy fast. Relative to the way it moves, that's not going crazy fast. DWAC, that move from 84 down to 80, that's a tank right there. Boom. From 84. That's very unusual for this stock, that type of movement. So that's a tank there for you guys. Ripping faces off. Yeah, well, it does rip a lot of people's faces off if you're short. Barcoding, just going sideways. What else we got? Squeezed. Squeezed. Well, that's when people are short and everyone's trying to just get that guy to get out.
Yeah.
Everyone's just trying to get that guy to get out. If they're short because someone's bet on the market going down and everyone knows it, well, at some point he's got to get out. How much does it hurt before he gets out? Because when he gets out, he's going to push it even further. So that's what you're trying to do, squeezing somebody. You're pressuring them, essentially, or pressuring someone who's gone short to get out of their position so the stock can go even higher. Well, I don't know, John C., about when a stock gets cornholed. I don't know what that means.
Cornhole?
I've never heard that,
Yeah,
but I'm sure there's
that.
a joke there that I don't get.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, and
Probably.
that's it. Oh, to the moon. Well, mooning. That's on you guys.
That comes from another YouTuber, not us. But yeah, that's for sure. The moon comes from the whole Reddit ape nation. You want me to talk about some stocks?
No, I'm just looking through the chat, see what else everyone's talking about, because the market has done nothing. So somebody was asking, what positions do I have? You see it on my screen here. Show them my screen. All my positions that I'm going to have are right here. Anything that new that pops up, it'll go in this screen here. So pins is the only one. I've been in this pretty much all morning, and I've made absolutely $0 on this. Zero pennies in the money. Absolutely flat.
How's that even possible?
Because it has done absolutely nothing. Well, it has done. It's gone up and down, but I have not gotten out. So I'm.
You're
flat.
pretty much in at the low day.
No, I'm not in at
Oh,
the low.
you're not at the low.
24.90.
Okay,
so
okay.
I'm right in the middle. I'm short in the middle. It rallied against me, and they came back down, and now it's going sideways. So
Wow.
I'm not making anything. Is scalping for everybody? No. Is it meant for only a few? It depends on your personality. So I was answering this question to Bradley yesterday. Which one's better? Which approach is better? Scalping or position trading? I'm a position trader, meaning I'll build a position and then I'll let it go and I'll manage. Scalping is what Sean does, and you're in and out much quicker. You have to have the personality to do it. I don't have the personality to do scalping. I can't. It's just too much. I can't process information that quickly to make sense of the risk, and I am much better at strategizing by looking at the longer term charts and then just figuring out how I want to kind of approach it, and then just take my positions, build up the position. Even if it goes against me, I'm still building a position, and then I'll let it go and do its thing, right? So that's what I did on Qualcomm. I did it on Spotify this morning. Qualcomm, Spotify, and Merck. Merck was the other big winner for me. That's the top three for me anyways. Merck. Let me get the chart up. Merck. New York? Yeah. See?
Oh, let me put your chart on. Sorry.
My dumb decision was to get out of Merck, but you can see the short. I faded Merck in front of this 81.80. I got out way too early, but I went short right into this 82 area. And then once it rallied off the bottom, I just got out.
What
I
made
walked
you
away.
get out of that short?
Because if I go to the daily, as I do with everything else, remember I went for the short at 80, just in front of 82, right? So the
Okay.
fact that we got down to this here, this 80 area, and then bounced all the way back up,
Yeah.
bugged me a lot
Okay.
because of the fact that if you look at the daily chart, 80 would be right here, right?
Right.
So if we bounce down and then come all the way back up to 81 and change, and north of that, I mean, what is my expectation at this point, right?
It's gonna go through.
Yeah, we should have. For me, I was looking towards where we are now, which is 79. If we got to 79, I can move the stop, right? At that point on Merck, I was like, you know what, the short was good, but at this point, the way it's moving, I don't like it, because the initial move off the open was great, and then we kind of found that 79 to 80 bottom and rallied all the way back. I'm like, nope, I'm walking away. Right? I still made money on it because of my pricing, but at the same time, that's like number 3 on the list, but obviously still going. But for me, I think I'm okay with that. I can live with that on Merck.
So I have a question for you regarding tape reading. When it comes to you taking your futures trades, or even like your entries for your equities or whatever, are you like tape reading around your levels, or do you just like trust your levels and your support and resistance is so much that you just have your entry around those prices and you just let the tape do its thing, and then you'll worry if you get stopped, you get stopped. If you make money, you make money. You don't want to bother with the because tape reading has a lot of noise in it,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like tape reading is not the easiest thing to learn or do, but for someone with so much experience, like what is your aspect when it comes to tape reading? Do you do it all the day? Do you do it only around the key points, or do you not even bother with it?
I do it around key points, right? You can't do it all the time because it's just way too much information to process. So for me, tape reading is something I like to do. You see me marking off levels, right? You see me marking off 4580 on the S&P 500. You see me marking off 4430, 4440-ish on the S&P on the support side. When we get to that point, I need to make a decision. I need to find an entry, right? Let's just say if I were to pull out the 60-minute chart of the S&P and we were up here, this is the zone I want to play. This is where I want to play. Let's get up there. Now I want to start tape reading because now we're in a location where I want to make a move, right? And once we get to that point where I want to make a move, can I find a reason to go short? There's been times, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, where I took a short and then I didn't like how the tape looked. I think it was this day right here. What day was that? No, it wasn't the 31st. It was this day. So it was Tuesday. So I took a short. Let me move this to a 5-minute chart so you guys can see where the short was. It was right here. It was against the 10s. And I think I went for the short somewhere around here, around 1120 something or something like that. And I went for the short and I was like, okay, this is where I wanted to make a move. I was going short 45.10 against 45.50. I'm like, okay, looks good. And then the longer I watched it, I'm like, something doesn't feel right about the short because by looking at the tape, it's like, this is not reacting the way I would expect it to react in terms of volume around this price.
Okay.
It ain't right? If this was truly a short, this is not how the volume should look. And that comes with experience, obviously, because I've been looking at this for like forever. So at this point, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't look right. I'm going to walk away from this trade. I made like 5 ticks, just over 1 full point on this trade. I walked away. I'm like, nope, I'm done. And then turns out 2 hours later, there was more than enough buying to prevent this market from actually going down, and we rallied.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, I didn't see that until the end of the day, but at the same time, I knew that by looking at the tape, it just didn't look right. And that's one of those things you build by just pure experience and looking for certain things. It's not going to be just based on charts exclusively. I do obviously look at charts as well, but I do incorporate tape reading as we get to the location where I need to make a decision.
Yeah, I was asking this question because yesterday I was in, there's this thing called Twitter Spaces. You're just sitting in this empty room talking to people. It's like a voice conference, kind of.
Okay.
And in there, someone was asking this question. It's like, tape reading, I find it too much noise. Do I look at it all day? And I kind of gave them the same answer you just gave me, which is you don't want to be looking at it all day. You want to be basically drawing out your supports and resistances, your trend lines, and then making a decision off of that. And then he was like, why can't I just rely on my trend line, just throw an order out and just leave it? I'm like, you could. There's nothing wrong with it as long as you have the right trend line and the right support and the right resistance. But like you're just using one information.
That's a tricky thing, though.
Yeah.
The trend line, the idea of a trend line is entirely based, it's subjective.
Exactly.
It's entirely subjective. So I can see a trend that obviously everyone sees an obvious trend, but the problem is where do you put the starting point? And everyone's going to choose a different location, most likely, right? So it's subjective. So yeah, you can rely on your trend, but what if the angle of the trend is off by a little bit? That
Right.
means the bottom of the trend where you want to go long is not where you are going long. It's a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Right? So it's entirely subjective. So I find like areas, trend lines, whatever. I don't use trend lines, but
Key areas.
And then you just filter out by using volume. Right? It's always an area. It's never a single level. I said 44.95. It's an area. It's around 44.95. We should see selling accelerate once we get through there. So at that point, I know it's confirmed. And sometimes you might see me say, when I do the morning update, I say, oh, the level's moved. Because it was an area, and then all of a sudden I see what the activity was in that area. You got to move the level. The area or the level I want to use is still valid. It's just it needs to be moved a little bit because there's a little bit more flexibility. Everything has flexibility. The levels, the stops, whatever, right? Everything in this market has flexibility because the market is built like that. So you do have to allow for that. You can't be too rigid with how you want to play with the markets, but you do have to be rigid with the rules of how you approach the markets, right? So it's just one of those things where I think it's because you leave trend lines and moving averages. Moving averages are obviously mathematically built, but how you want to trade them is going to be subjective. So you do have to allow for that. Everyone's going to have their own little opinion on it, and you just got to kind of put it out there. Hey, you know what? Check the volume. It's good to have a secondary confirmation of what you want to see around a certain level. Right? It's just because a Bollinger Band is overbought or oversold doesn't mean that it's time to go in the opposite direction. Because what happens when the market trends? That Bollinger Band is staying up there. For anyone who knows about Bollinger Bands, it's usually an oscillating indicator, which usually means if it gets too high, the market's coming back down. Right? So, but the problem is when the market goes into a trend, it just stays up high and never comes back down. So you got to be careful on how you play that. So you do have to watch how you approach those things. And that's kind of the reasons why I don't really use indicators. Apart from the moving averages on the daily, the big ones, like the one I show you guys here, the 50, the 100, and the 200, the white, yellow, and red. Only reason I have them up is because of institutional activity around those moving averages because they use them. They use them, so I want to use them. And that's the only time I ever care because I know once we get close to one, there could be institutional algos that are going to step in to do something. I want to be aware of what those zones are. Apart from that, I don't really care intraday-wise what the market does and how we trade with moving averages or any sort of indicators.
Let's quickly do this right here. What do we have? Clicking random buttons, my bad. What just give me profits? SoFi, let's go. SoFi's continue going 13 cents in the money now. Only 40% left on my original weight on SoFi. Let's go. Obviously, I want this move to VWAP. Come on, market. But sorry.
No, somebody was saying crude futures on a tear, and I just took a quick look. Damn, crude on a run here. Crude, I think they're closing up soon, right?
Wow.
They close at 2 o'clock, I think. It is on a run here. Crude north of 90. Everybody get ready for higher gas prices based on the way crude is moving.
Yeah, this is what I was going to do. What are we? Can we just get a blonde wig for Arun and have him talk in Russian accent? I guess they want Valeriia really bad. Amir over here wants Valeriia.
Before we sign off and you continue, let me just quickly do Bradley Taylor's Art Keltner channels effective. Unfortunately, Bradley, I don't even know what those are. So I can't help you out there because I'm not really well versed in a ton of indicators because I don't really use them. So I haven't really dug too deep apart from the basic ones.
So real quick, once again, Amir, is Sean Long on Facebook? I have, you are? He said he's at 238 and he's like long back to 300. I don't know 300 today, but the long back to 300 eventually. So we'll see. Obviously, thank you for all the super chats, everyone. Sorry for the late super chat reading. We kind of get lost over here with our conversations a little bit and forget to look at this super chat boxes. But for everyone who has showed us support and love, thank you. Once again, like count button is above 1K, so thank you for that too. To wrap up the week tomorrow, you know where to go. Nowhere but here at 11 o'clock. Same time, same place for Market Movers. Make sure you show up. You have anything to say goodbye or anything?
No, that's it.
Nah?
Send them over.
Well, high five. Paka paka.
Hey guys, welcome to the close. 2 o'clock. That means there's 2 hours left in the trading session. What a day it's been. Market's kind of grinding along the lows right now. So we'll talk a little bit about why that is, what is leading the way, but pretty ugly to the downside once again today. Led by, there it is, 3% currently on the tech sector and the NASDAQ specifically, 1.5 for the S&P, 0.76 there for the Dow, trying to lead as far as gainer.